we need to do a show now.
Talk tick.
All right, it is show time. We're just going to fly right on into it. We've been talking some stuff that we can't do on air before that, thanks to Alex back there and all that. So
yeah,
appreciate you guys joining us tonight here at the Livewell at On Fish, North Georgia. It's On Fish, North Georgia, too.
Dude, we weren't
North
muted
Georgia.
earlier.
We were not muted?
Apparently not.
Oh, really? I hope we've
muted
been muted.
Yeah.
Okay,
during the thing?
If not, we're going to get demonetized quickly. Demonetized quickly. Guys, glad you guys could join us tonight. Got a great show for you. And Clint's laughing. Clint, I got to start the show somehow, and you already got us messed up.
Dude, we're off the rails.
We're off the rails, and that's all right. It's all because of our guest tonight. We got Brooks Anderson in the house. We got to get it back on the rails because I'm sure your dad's going to be watching.
Oh, yeah.
And we got to make sure you can come back at a later date. So anyway, appreciate you guys joining us tonight. We're going to have a great couple hours just talking fishing, talking with Brooks. And let's go ahead and take care of our sponsors before we get in any more trouble. Let's do that first. So, of course, we always start out the show with Trent and the gang over there at Sonar Pro, 770-530-4505, the official sonar installer of the Livewell. If you want to get your boat done right, you want to get it with the pros, take their boats, you take it to Trent off Highway 369. So we appreciate the guys at Sonar Pros. And then, of course, we got Kevin Underwood with Lipsticker Fishing, 678-459-8419, Kevin at lipstickerfishing.com. Check out his live Patreon, patreon.com/lipstickerfishing. If you want to catch some of them megalodons, book a trip with Kevin. And then, of course, we got the best rod sleeve on the market. That is the Evolve Rod Sleeve. You can find them at evolvefishing.com or here at Fish North Georgia. The best, absolutely. I'm telling you, you might as well not waste your money with any other ones. They float. They got all the little gadgets and gears. But the best thing about it is they protect from the hooks getting torn up in those, what do we call them? Chinese finger trap? Is that what you like to call them?
Yep.
They are Chinese.
Made out.
You don't want a cheap rod sleeve. Go with Evolve Fishing and do it right the first time. And, of course, then you always need a good plug knocker. And we got the Money Saver Lure Retriever for all the money we spend on all these expensive baits. Hey, if you get hung up, you might as well get it back. You need a Money Saver Lure Retriever. Got them here at Fish North Georgia, the best, absolutely. If you're on Lake Allatoona and you want to book a trip with a legend, Bill Payne's Guide Service, 706-280-2305. Not only does he do trips on Allatoona, he does seasonal smallmouth trips. If you talk nicely to him, he might take you to another lake. And, of course, he sets up your electronics and everything. Fish with a legend, that's Bill Payne's Guide Service, 706-280-2305. And then our next sponsor, I don't really know who this kid is. I hear he's pretty good, but that's Brooks Anderson Fishing, our guest for tonight. Guys, hey, he has a YouTube channel. You need to definitely go check it out and go to brooksandersonfishing.com. And he likes to say spotted bass, where they're at, why they're there, how to catch them. And he caters to the younger generation. I know you've said that before. You like getting the younger guys, the high schoolers and the college guys, getting their careers started. If you want to know all about spotted bass, Lake Lanier, do you do other lakes often?
I do Hartwell occasionally.
Hartwell occasionally?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so, hey, talk to him. I'll take you up to Hartwell too. But anyway, check him out there. And, of course, if you watch tonight, you'll get to know him a little bit more. If you don't already know him, and if you don't already know him, you should have already. So, and then, of course, we got Fishers of Hope, our buddies up there. Their mission is to glorify God, be servants of his word, to bring those in need to peace and hope that only he can bring. That ministry, they do bass tournaments for those in need in the area. You can check them out on Facebook, Fishers of Hope. And then, of course, if you want to reach out and contact them, Fishers of Hope Ministry at gmail.com. Great people. You want to be associated with people like that. And then, of course, our buddies at Turner Tire in Jasper, Georgia. You can see the sign kind of behind me. I always mess that up when I lean right there. We got to move that sign. But anyway, if you need tires or an alignment, or if you got a boat tire that you've been hauling around in the back of your truck for the last 20 weeks that you need fixed, like Clint.
It's in the parking lot outside right now. We're not going to forget this time. It has been like 7 weeks.
Yeah, it has been 7 weeks. You've been wanting me to get it fixed. Finally, he got it out of his truck tonight. But hey, great people, Brock and the crew up there, great family-owned business. Support them. And then, of course, guys, listen, if you've got a business and you want to put it in front of the most loyal, I don't know, can we call them fans? Viewers? How do we want it? We need a nickname for our viewers.
Yeah, we do.
We might do that tonight. We'll put that up there. You want to advertise your business right there. You see that with me and Kevin right there. Contact me, Danny at FNGO. We will work with any size company. We'll cater a plan to put your product or your service out in front of the most loyal viewers, let's say it like that, out there. So hit me up, Danny at FNGO.com, and we will get your name out there. And we got some packages that do some social media extras and everything like that we can do for you. So hit us up. And I think we'll start off the show. All you guys, let's see, I know there's a bunch of you out there. Just hello to all of you. Cranking and yanking, Paul B. A lot of you guys were watching the NPFL the other day, and we were talking with each other. It was cool seeing you guys outside of the show. And it was almost like we had the FNGO family watching the NPFL the other day in the comments. So look at that CA Chevy guy, Brooks. Brooks, do you know him?
I do not.
You don't know him? So what's up, Tony? Hey, look, Tony, I got your sticker right here front and center. Big girls don't want a little worm right there. That is Tony Collin Fishing right there. So all you guys, cranking and yanking, I am from Louisiana, but I identify as an FNGO fan. We need to get a name. Luke Duncan's got a name for his viewers and all that.
Yeah.
Low lives?
Low lifers.
Low lifers. What can we call?
You got the MFers, Milliken.
Yeah, we can't do
Mercer
that.
calls him the Humpers because he posted on Hump Day every day. He said, "My Humpers."
Mercers are the Humpers.
Yeah.
All right, well, I'll tell you what. You guys in the comment section, while you're answering throwing out all your questions and comments for Brooks, and we're going to talk fishing, I promise. But if you got a good nickname for our viewers, the deplorables, that might be a good one. We might go with that, Justin. And you're a Yankee, and that was even smart for a Yankee right there. So, I know I'll get an email tomorrow. Some guy like, don't say it. Call us the FN family. The effing family.
Effing family. That's pretty good.
You know, because we effing go right here at FNGL right there. So effing family, deplorables. I kind of like the effing family.
I like the effing family.
Effing family. Silver Punk. Let's just go ahead and do that. What's up, effing family? North Georgia family like that.
That is funny.
Effing family, so like that. So, well, we probably just, somebody was sitting there going, I think I'm going to advertise with Fish North Georgia. Hey guys, welcome to the. We might not. And Brooks is over being quiet.
As long as they didn't hear us before the show started.
I know it. But anyway, so pull up DA. Let's go ahead and get it started. And guys, tonight, listen, we're going to talk. We can talk. What are you laughing at?
That's already Dylan.
I know it's Dylan.
Yeah.
Brooks, I saw your latest post about the best tactics for catching bedfish. How can I convince these fish that are rolling around on the bed to bite my worm? Now, I know it's Dylan, and Dylan's going to be our guest Thursday night. He's going to come on. If you don't know Dylan Akins, I always call him Atkins, but I know it's Akins. That's just the way I am. But anyway, he got to fish the Bassmaster Classic, because he won the college Bassmaster Open or Classic or whatever what do they call it in college?
Bracket.
The bracket. Well, he won it, and he likes us, so he's going to come on Thursday night. So I got two great young guests this week, so I love it like that. But anyway, seriously, how much bed fishing do you do? Let's go ahead and get the controversy out there.
I enjoy it. I don't necessarily like boxing them and taking them away from the bread in a tournament if I have to, but
right.
I don't see an issue if I get to release that fish immediately and not tote them 10 miles away.
Yeah.
But
I get that. I think a lot of guys will say, like, I don't like it in a tournament situation because you are hauling them. But it's really hard if you pull up, you're going down the bank, and you see, as Kaz likes to say, can you give me a Becky in Kaz's voice?
Oh, dude, when you go down the bank and you see them Becky's just a spawning away.
All right. So when you see Becky's like that, it's hard not to throw at them.
for sure.
But let me ask you this, because we've watched several of the NPFL tournaments and the elites and all that, and they go to bed fish and all that. How much time in a tournament, if you see a winning fish, will you give it? Because some of them guys, they'll give it an hour, 2 hours. What would you do? Let's say you saw
Drew Cook spent 6 hours on one at Okeechobee.
I could see Drew doing that.
John's.
Yeah.
I could see that.
It's tough because at some point it just gets personal with you and the fish, and then that's probably not the best thing for a tournament situation. So you kind of got to really gauge what mood that fish is in and what stage of the spawn it's in, and then if it's worth your time or not. But most of the time, it cannot be worth it. But there's a couple instances where if the male and the female are doing everything properly, then it is worth an hour or two for sure.
Man, that's hard to sit there. Doc Holliday says, thanks, Clint. Sounds like it. I've never heard anybody that can do Kaz Anderson better than Kaz Anderson like Clint does. I think he talks better than Kaz does. Let's see. Atlanta Outdoors. Learn how to work Sebile's better from one of Brooks' videos last year. And so for, you guys that don't know, he's got a YouTube channel. He posts great content. And it is the time for the Sebiles right now.
It is.
Because we were talking a little bit, got the herring spawn going on. We talked about that with Kevin Underwood last week. What's your favorite? I'm gonna go ahead and ask you this question. What's your favorite herring or shad spawn bait?
Favorite?
Yeah, your favorite.
Fluke.
A fluke.
Mm.
You like the fluke better than the Sebile and those kind of style baits. What is it about a fluke that makes you just pick it up?
It's just probably the most natural presentation. Doesn't have trebles, hook hangers, no sound, and with as much as people fish out on linear, it's probably the foremost best bait to get a bite on first cast on the area.
Yeah. So how much herring spawn are you seeing on the lake right now?
It's going down pretty good in the past couple of days. It's been fun out there for sure. It's I left about a week ago, and it was going down pretty good up north, and then now I'm starting to see it actually make its way to the full course of the lake down the south end for sure.
Right. Is it like the spawn? Does it start like on the north end and work down, or can it just pop up anywhere?
It can. Typically, it will start on the northern portion more so. I wouldn't compare it to the actual spawn so much because that can be all over the place. But typically, the herring spawn does start on the northern portion and then make its way down south.
When you have someone in your boat, because he also guides, and you got like a newbie, and you pull up to a herring spawn, what do you tell those guys? Like what not to do, what to do?
There's a lot that goes into it. A lot of the fish you can't actually see on forward facing, and some you can, but the biggest thing is just to kind of make the best cast you can and then match those fish's aggression level for that day, I'd say.
If they're not hitting a fluke, what do you go to?
Probably Topwater would be a close second for sure.
What's your favorite topwater?
I got a couple. Cast OG is a really good one when you get some really like bad conditions you shouldn't be out in lake in. That bait really excels in the nasty weather. Then of course, I'm a skimmer. I'm a little stick, just kind of your more traditional walking bait, so I'll never let you down.
All right, so you're a cast guy.
Yep.
He said cast OG in nasty weather.
Mm-hmm.
What is it about the OG in nasty weather that makes it such a bait that he wants to throw it?
They're more likely to bite it in the nasty weather because it's a big presentation, but it's also a lot of action and then nothing, and then a lot of action and not so they can have time to catch up to it, I feel like. But I mean, I get bit on it when it's slick, calm, but you have to have the fish has to be in the right position. They have to be up close to the surface or floating, and then you can kind of make them bite. But it's almost like hitting a popper sometimes with an OG is like when you're hitting it, you're trying to make it splash and get their attention to go blow up on it.
Okay. Pull up Jasper Georgia News right there. Huge shout out to these guys for their awesome work helping us with a very important interview this week. Went out of their way to do an awesome job for us. Absolutely. Awesome. We love helping out our community. We did some camera work for a very important interview that I would suggest you follow Jasper Georgia News. It's kind of a national story right there, and I don't even want to get into I'll mess up the details of it. But you are very much welcome. I got the best camera guy in the business right there. So glad it all worked out for you guys right there. T-Toms, I'm on Lanier right now trying out a Mega Bass Pop X. Any tips on how to work it?
That's a pretty good pop art style bait for Mega Bass. I know a lot of guys really like that one. I don't know how well it truly rips like a chug bug or e-pop, but I would try to do it kind of forceful on those herring spawn areas. But a bait probably excels more so in my eyes and kind of a walk the dog popper around largemouth for that Mega Bass one. Yeah,
you like it there. I want to show you guys this too. Everybody knows I'm a little on the chunky side. So Brooks's dad, Andy, he follows the show regularly, sent me a Brooks Anderson t-shirt. Now, this right here is a medium.
Hey.
Listen, I ain't wore a medium since about the 10th grade, man. And his ass did it on purpose. So if you want to see my B cups in full, you know what? I probably could wear this like as an undershirt just to pin them down, almost like a sports bra.
To keep it together.
Sports Brooks.
It's my sports Brooks right here.
Yeah, that's
great. Yeah, but your dad did this, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So see, and Andy knows I'm a plus size gal.
Do you think he actually did it on purpose?
Hell yeah, he did it on purpose. That's what he said. He sent a medium on purpose.
Well, you said it on the show, apparently.
Yeah, I do. I mean, remember, what did you say? No, somebody said I looked fat in my Van Halen shirt the other day.
That was Kevin. That wasn't me.
But anyway, we're going to put it up. We're going to put it up as a souvenir. And when this kid wins a major tournament like the Bassmaster Classic,
you got to get him to sign it for you.
Brooks?
Yeah.
Listen, I've got a relationship with him. I better not have to just get his autograph. He needs to come like,
You got to
Don't
get him to
forget
sign
those
it
little
before
guys.
he wins, so it'll be worth more money.
well, how do you figure out if he wins and he signs it afterwards? What's the difference? I
Have
still
him
got
date
his
it.
autograph.
Date it.
Date
Date
it.
it.
You got to date it right here. I knew Brooks when he was nobody.
Yeah.
Or
There
just
you go.
film it.
Film it
It's
right
like
there.
that rookie card, dude.
Scroll on up. And you guys keep throwing the questions out because, we're going to do it right here. CA Chevy guy. Man, I always wonder how these guys got their name. I guess you like Chevys. If you can come up with a 2002 transfer case for a Silverado, send it to the shop. Do you use the donkey rig with it on there? You ever donkey rig?
I've thrown it a few times out here. It definitely works. I typically don't like it too much.
Sorry.
What are you laughing at?
Silver Punk.
Silver Punk. Where's Silver Punk?
Pull it up, Alex.
You look like a can of busted biscuits in that medium. Listen, I know it. I keep saying we're going to do a show naked
Silver
one time,
Punk's on one tonight.
but nobody wants to see me naked. Like, there's a reason why my wife makes me turn out the lights. It is what it is. Now, let me ask you this, though, with clients. If you got it, I'm sure you get a lot of inexperienced anglers. Have you ever had one come up and say, hey, what about that donkey rig? And you're just kind of like, nah, dude, we don't need to mess with that.
No, it's not the easiest thing to throw and
Right.
be accurate with, and kind of the style we like to fish
Or
out
even
there.
rig. Like,
Yeah,
I feel like
it's a lot going on. I mean, it twists and it's definitely powerful at times for sure, but it's not one I mess with too much.
Yeah, if there's a way to mess it up, I'll mess it up right there. All right, what's my next question here? Grant Sasky, how do you like to rig your Fluke?
I just rig it on a 4-aught Gamakatsu Nano Alpha, and then that's the offset worm hook. So it's actually an old school O'Shaughnessy bend compared to your traditional round bend. And
Right.
That's my hook of choice.
Do you use, a lot of guys will use a swivel up about 12, 18 inches up to keep the nose down. Do you ever do anything like
No,
that?
I just run a cast braid to a 10 or 12 pound leader.
That cash braid's legit, ain't it?
It rips.
It rips.
For a fluke, though, I think that's where it really does change the game. When you have those fish blowing up just out of reach and you can still hit them versus where everybody else isn't, like it does. I feel like get a couple extra bites.
I know people they think we talk about it because we're friends with Ryan, and we are friends with Ryan and the guys at Cast. But I'm telling you, you can bomb ass cast.
But go
that
read the
cast
reviews.
braid.
There's a lot that don't even know who Ryan is.
Yeah,
And go read the reviews. On the
I
website.
have never thrown a braid that cast as good as that.
That's crazy.
It is dumb, is it not?
I bought it because of Jeff. I hopped on the boat with him one time and he had it. And
Because of who?
Jeff Nail, he
Uh-huh.
had it on his. And I was like 2-3 casts in. I was like, dude, what is this braid? And he told me about it and I bought some immediately.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Now,
I run it on everything.
I do too. So go to Cast website. I think they got it in stock.
Yeah,
now.
they just restocked. We
Restocked
got
it.
some sizes.
If you haven't thrown the cast braid, and again, this ain't an infomercial for cast. I'm just telling you that braid right there will change your life. Andrew, and I'm not even going to try to pronounce that last name. How would you say that?
Theed?
Clint? Theed?
Feed.
Okay, Andrew Theed. Brooks, will the new 6-inch Zoom Super Fluke get in your arsenal? How do you see yourself using it differently than the traditional one? So the Super Fluke is 5 inches.
Mhm.
So this, and I know they've had the 7-inch one out there, the Mag Fluke or whatever they
Yeah.
call it. 6-inch. You going to use it any?
I think I'll use it some on Lanier, but more so I can see it really playing on like your Clarksville, your Harwells, your Murrays, places with kind of a lot more largemouth baits when they mix in on herring spawn and kind of eat those baits. I think that could be a really powerful like new profile for them for sure. But I think it could work really well out here on Lanier as well.
Okay, I know you're not going to drop your juice, but your secondary juice. What's your favorite Fluke colors?
Favorite Fluke colors?
Yeah.
My secondaries?
Yeah, because I know how it is. Listen, you're a tournament guy. I know you ain't going to give it all up.
Pearl White's good. No, I'm
You
kidding.
can't go wrong with a pearl, though.
No, Pearl White, ham bone's one of my favorite. It has a little bit brighter glow and kind of silhouette.
Yeah.
That really does well.
In the sun, I like that disco green. You ever throw it?
green.
Disco
Yeah, so
green.
translucent with the.
It's translucent, got
I
some
haven't
green
seen that.
flake. They got disco violet, disco green.
Yeah. Okay.
I know a lot of guys will take that disco green, put it on a ball head jig, and they'll throw it down on brush piles later on when the brush bite gets good. But that's a sunny.
Mhm.
That's kind of like in the sun is when you get in. Let me ask you this. So again, cloudy day versus sunny day with the Fluke. How do you change your colors based upon that?
I don't.
You don't.
No. So I mean, if I'm throwing a fluke to the right fish, in my eyes, he's going to eat it. For the most part, it's not really a color thing that makes a huge difference to me. I mean, I'll switch it up between 3 to 4 colors, but I'm not going translucent with some blue or some X amount of sparkle. I don't let that kind of stuff enter my head. I don't think it's that deep.
Right. I like how he said that. I'll go between 3 or 4 colors, but he won't tell us the 3 or 4 colors.
Hambone's one.
Hambone's one. So you got 1/4 of his colors right there. So Derek Spicer. Is Danny a Becky? Did you see Fred Ashcraft ask Danny is a Becky? Damn, Fred, I thought we was friends. Huh? I'm going on a diet. Starting tomorrow, I'm going on a diet. I say that every week. What areas would you throw a walking bait right now?
Blow-throughs.
Yeah, you got to. Right now. You have to right now. Any herring spawn area. Even if, let me ask you this, you come up to a blow-through and you don't see herring spawn activity on the surface, which if you guys have ever witnessed a herring spawn, there are times when it's like, it's unmistakable. But if you don't see any activity, would you still chunk it just because it's a blow-through and just see what you got?
Yeah, for the most part, topwater is a really good way to just catch those fish in that portion of the water when there's not that much over their heads, and it can be really powerful. But blow through, and then some of the flatter, like clay points right now on the sides of blow throughs are pretty money.
Clay points. Okay, there you go. What about you? I mean, you've been fishing.
We're
not going to talk to Alex back there because he fishes dock lights.
Yeah.
That's what I was doing Saturday.
That's what you was doing. So, but anyway, you.
So just looking for where would I throw a topwater?
Yeah, if you come up and you know we got a herring spawn going on, but you don't see the activity, will you stop at a blow through and just make a few casts?
We did it all weekend and didn't catch them doing it. But the thing is like, it's so particular on which areas you're actually fishing. I mean, after talking to Brooks, he went and smashed them on them. And then everyone I hit, I just didn't hit either at the right time or when their fish are actually there. Like, I feel like they kind of pull up and go off and pull up and go off like throughout the day. So it's really timing oriented too. But I mean, I hit the same areas, clay points, blow throughs, caught a couple on brush piles that are post spawn. So
yeah, because they're all over the place right now.
Yeah, they're everywhere.
All right, now he just brought up timing.
Mm-hmm.
When Underwood was on last week, it seems like with a herring spawn, your most productive time of the day is that first hour because they push up. But then, the cloudy day, they may hang out a little bit longer.
Yeah.
If you go to a blow through and let's say you don't see obvious sign, how much time do you give it? I know you're a running gunner.
Yeah, I mean, I'll make it pass through there, and if I really don't see what I like, I'm pretty much gone within a minute or two. If I can like move around that day with my clients and everything, if they're willing to kind of get up and stay moving with me, then we'll keep rolling until everything's right for sure.
What about, because you fish a lot of tournaments, what about in a tournament situation?
Not probably less than that. Like I'm gonna give it a couple minutes at max. I'm gone. So
that's what I was telling him before. He would die fishing out of a kayak or an electric only tournament because he can't run and gun. I've asked you this question 100 times every time you come on a given tournament day. How many spots is Brooks Anderson hitting
in a brush tournament, or
let's just say on Lanier in a regular tournament? Just
what time of year? That's a huge
okay. How about let's go now and then let's go in about 2 months.
Okay, so
like right now, how many? If we were fishing a tournament tomorrow on Lanier, how many spots are you hitting in a day?
Probably
20
to 40 at the most.
Okay, so that's low though compared to like a summertime tournament.
Cooking.
It is cooking, but like how many?
Right, but you got to think I'm hitting that many, but I'm also hitting that many to just recycle the same ones that I know that they're on.
So so when you say that you're hitting 20 spots, but you're hitting them 4 times a piece, like you're just going back.
I may hit one that many times.
Yeah,
100%. But it's not one thing where I'm just burning down one side of the lake, turn around. Oh, I'm gonna go fish that side. It's like I'm trying to figure out where those fish are set up that day and then hit as many high percentage areas as I can on the second go round just to kind of increase odds.
Yeah.
So that's the kind of like method to the madness, if you will.
I mean, I get it.
It seems crazy at first, but almost on these lakes, you just have to like re-eliminate everything you found the previous day. It's like today, for example, I started a guide trip, went to the herring spawn spots. We blasted them off of yesterday and saw nothing. No birds, no bait, no fish. And I'm like, really?
Yeah. Yeah.
So then I drove 5 miles up the lake and it was going on up there. But it's one of those things you you can't be scared. Just completely abandon everything,
Right.
and then just almost start over on a tournament day.
Yeah.
How do you think that's going to affect the elite guys this week on Hartwell? Like, do you
Good
think there's
question.
going to be a lot of guys that are going to be stuck in that 30 minutes a spot, 45 minutes a spot, and just trying to wait it out?
There's a big girl on bed. They'll be there.
Yeah, I definitely think it can easily hurt some guys, but Hartwell, Clarksville, and Murray, those are a little bit different than here because there'll be a couple guys that may just, I don't want to say camp out on a spot, but get in an area that may have more consistent schooling or something, and that can actually work out to their favor. It's not very common, but there's a couple of spots where I can think of, like on Hartwell, for example. If you were to sit there for the majority of the morning, you could probably get right for sure.
So we got how many Georgia boys fish the elites? So you got Emil and
At
Paul,
least 20.
Drew Cook. I mean, there's a bunch of them.
Yeah.
Hartwell is going to be an interesting tournament.
Yeah.
So
There's a lot of players. Like, fantasy was so hard to play this week because there's just so many
Fantasy?
guys. Like, fantasy fishing.
you
Yeah.
playing fantasy fishing?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
How
I'm
are
on
you
the show
doing
every
so
week.
far?
I'm sitting at like 80% overall.
That's
so
not bad.
It's not good. But Drain the Lake, I'm at 97%. So
I got you. Scroll on up a couple to going up to JTB. And we'll hit Silver Punk in a second. But JTB, I bought Cast Braid because of you guys, and it's the bomb. Ryan Hanks,
here,
if you
I'll
guys
take a picture of it.
yeah, if you guys are
So
watching,
good.
I want to know how many spools of Cast Braid we have sold on this show.
Yeah. So I tell my friends, I say, if you don't like it, I'll buy it.
Huh?
I'll buy it from you and pay for the shipping. And I haven't had to buy any from them. So
Yeah, I'm serious. So, but like seriously, Ryan Hanks, I need like a what do we call that? Commission, something.
Yeah,
You guys need to
royalty.
sponsor the show is what you need to do. So,
Yeah.
right there above that, Silver Punk, who called me fat earlier, can of freaking biscuits.
Busted biscuit.
Busted biscuits. But now listen, it matters what kind of biscuit it is. You can get them little cheap biscuits, or you can get the really good ones. What are those really good big
Like the
biscuits?
big Pillsbury dough.
Pillsbury.
Like,
Oh,
am I
yeah.
Pillsbury or am I
Pillsbury
like
Doughboy.
the Ingles brand? That makes a difference right there.
Laurel Lynn.
Laurel
Danny.
Lynn. Am I Laurel Lynn busted biscuits or am I Pillsbury? Any
Make
tricks?
that a t-shirt.
Any tricks to get more use out of a fluke? After one or two fish, I have to toss it. Toss that joker. It might be like a Yamamoto.
Yeah.
Just be glad you caught the fish.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm throwing a fluke or something and it starts twirling, I didn't even caught a fish on, I'll throw it at the bottom of the
Oh,
bag.
yeah. If it ain't doing that.
It has to be right.
Do you boil those things?
Nah, I'm not. No,
I've never had to do that. I know guys that do that.
that's too much back end work.
It is too. Listen, it's like in fishing, when you buy a good quality bait like a Yamamoto or a Zoom, and we realize you only get a couple fish out of it, that's fine. But it's also like buying a Jeep and then complaining about the gas mileage. You know what you're going to get when you get it, when you buy that thing right there. So, oh, yeah, pull up Andy. Yes, he was bragging last week how he's now wearing a medium, so I sent him one. Andy, I was lying my ass off, buddy. I've been in a medium forever in a day. I'm serious. What would you say? Solid B cup? I wear the sweatshirt, so am I
Good
bigger?
squeeze.
My daughter's over there, Tatum, the CEO of Fish No Georgia. She says I'm bigger than a B cup. I have to wear a sweatshirt so I'm not headlighting everybody. You know, we don't need that right there. Doc Holliday. Danny, I fished with Brooks several times, and he's never used a wacky worm. He's not perfect. Do you think you can teach him your secrets? Now, why do you not throw a wacky worm?
I will.
You just didn't do it with him, though.
No, it wasn't the time of year.
Listen, there is no bad time for a wacky.
No, there's not, but that's a slow presentation.
It is slow. It is
and
slow.
and it's powerful. It works.
Listen, he's so geared up so fast that he just can't do it. So once he grows up, how old are you now?
Almost 23.
Almost 23.
Almost.
Almost 23. So like, gosh, I'm double your age, dude. Listen, I keep my young kids around and make me feel younger. But as you get in your 30s or 40s, I think you're going to slow down and you'll like that wacky worm.
Right.
Yeah, it'll come. He'll get around to it. Wyatt Martin. Appreciate you joining us tonight. Good evening, Danny. Got to say, I threw the Jackal Riser on Lanier this past weekend. It's legit. They blow it up. They never miss it. So you throw riser baits? Any of them?
A fair amount. I mean, they're a really, really good bait.
This
for
time
sure.
of year?
They can be. I don't.
It seems to me like more guys talk about that,
In
though,
the
in the
fall.
summertime.
I think it's the biggest in the fall when everyone really talks about it.
You think it's more of a fall bait,
Mhm.
but can work this time of year if that's what you're
Oh,
throwing.
for sure.
Apparently, it
Yeah.
was working for him right there.
Yeah.
David Allen Stith, and I hope I said that right, buddy. I want to go catch a bag on Hartwell. Flat clay points or rock? What are you fishing right now,
Definitely flat clay points for sure.
and why?
That's just where the herring spawn is. A lot of those fish up there, they'll sit up there all day long. Doesn't matter if it's the morning or 4 o'clock.
What do you think about spotted bass spawn right now on Hartwell? You think that's going to come into play, or you think
Yeah.
that's already happened?
No, there'll be plenty of spots still spawning.
Okay. Did you find any when you went the other day?
Yeah, we found a ton. It was like we were on the St.
Yeah,
Lawrence River.
yeah, like he said, yeah.
Yeah, like it was like we were on the St. Lawrence. We were literally looking at them in 12 foot and sitting there with a drop shot. They're all 4 pounds or less, but it was still fun.
What lake was that? Was Lanier?
Lanier on Friday. Yeah.
Somebody came in the shop earlier and was talking about on Allatoona. They were pulling up to a point, and they could actually physically see the fish. They were so shallow, pushed up on the point spots
Mhm.
and all that. They didn't have. They said we didn't even have to use forward facing. They was everywhere. So, and it was on sand. So anywhere that they found the sandy bottom right there, it had spots on it right now. Where do spots spawn? You're the spot
Sand.
expert. Even on Lanier, is it more sand than rock?
For the most part, spots will spawn on sand. They may be on the side of a dock next to a rock pile, a stump, a little point, but sand is pretty much a common denominator where they want to spawn.
Okay, scroll on up. And listen, guys, there was a couple questions. I think it was Matthew Smith Gone Fishing with Diaz, I think, going down. And guys, listen, we get a lot of comments when we got a great guest like Brooke. So if you had a question and I miss it, it does happen. Type it again. We'll try to get it. Yeah, I think going back down. I think it was go down till you see Diaz. Up.
Right there.
Yeah. How long will the herring spawn last on Lanier?
It'll last a good ways into May for sure. I've seen it almost get to June before, but a lot of those fish will stay up there and feed on them even when they're done spawning. But definitely for the majority of May.
Yeah, and like we talked about with Underwood last week, not only is it we keep saying herring spawn because that is of course the thing on Lanier, but you got the shad spawn, like threadfin, gizzards, and all that kind of stuff. Will Tom, right above his thoughts on Randy Blockett's wisdom. Okay, let me say this. I don't necessarily agree with him on everything about forward facing sonar, but Randy is a smart angler. He has a lot of good tips. He has like 2 or 3 different Facebook or YouTube pages. One is like have you seen his? It's like teaching or something like that.
Intuitive angling.
Well, Intuitive Angling is the one where he does a lot of opinions.
Yeah, I don't know.
But he's got another one.
I'm not go on there to dislike every video.
You do that. You're that guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but Randy's still smart. He's still smart. So I would say when it comes to and again, I think he's got a good heart. I think his delivery could be a little bit. He said he was not going to say cheater box.
I think
anymore.
he just fed into the evil, like like he started seeing the negativity produce, and then he kind of cut the toothpaste was out of the tube at that point, and he was like, "There's no other way."
Yeah, I get it.
I mean,
he did put out a video last week when he said he might have rubbed feathers wrong by calling it cheater box, and he wasn't going to use the term cheater box anymore. So hey, listen, but the man's passionate, has his beliefs. I'm not going to down him. I've done that before.
You ain't got to watch it. That's the biggest thing. You don't have to watch it.
Yeah.
You choose what your algorithm looks like by what you watch.
Yeah.
So if you're eating up negativity, you're going to get negativity.
I like that. You attract what you are, like that. So Matthew Smith, appreciate you joining us tonight. What would your plan be if the herring spawn locations were occupied by others in the AM right now?
Dude, Saturday was wild out there.
Yeah, so you pull up.
Yeah.
I know this blow through. It's going to be start one, and you pull up and there's a guy on it.
Yeah, weekends are just pretty much a battle on the lake.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
Saturdays, I'm just going to be honest, it is tough to get on what you want to get on. Even if you think it's super sneaky, there's probably a boat on. And there's a couple other alternatives you could do. You could maybe run down a seawall or stop on a bridge early in the morning and catch some. But the biggest thing, if you can figure out where the majority of those boats are and then simply like go to the complete other side of the lake and just try to get on a clean run of them, that's what I like to do. If I notice a bunch of boats in the area, specifically on a herring spawn, I'm trying to get away from a lot of those guys. I don't mind rehitting stuff, but I don't want to directly pull up behind someone, even if they didn't catch any fish. Their boat being on top of those fish messes them up more so than them even catching them.
Yeah, and everybody's got a phone now, so if you pull up behind somebody, you'll be on YouTube. Somebody fussing. K-Rain, fishing Heath Lake 1st of May. Any tips? For those that don't know, Heath Lake, I think he's talking about Rocky Mountain PFA over in Rome, largemouth lake. What do you think? And now, again, we're talking much smaller lake than any of these. I would say, I don't know, 100 acres maybe? I don't know. If you're fishing a 100-acre bass lake, first week of May, largemouth. Probably a lot of post spawn. Maybe some on spawn still.
Maybe if there'd be a couple still left on bed, I think for sure a couple late spawners. I don't know if that place has shad or not, but first thing in the morning.
It's got gizzard shad.
Yeah.
And bluegill.
Okay. I mean, maybe a shad spawn, but those fish are probably not the best feeding mood. That doesn't mean you can't absolutely blast them, but I'd probably be looking either maybe for some fry garters and then kind of in that mid-range depth, especially maybe that 8 to 12 on stumps, or if it's got brush or isolated rock, just kind of some of those areas when those fish get done spawning, they'll just kind of neutrally hang out for a little bit. That's kind of where I would focus on.
Some of you guys that fish Rocky Mountain over there, maybe help our buddy out over there, because I've never fished Heath Lake. That's the trophy lake. It's only open like once a month or something like that, 1 weekend a month. I still think the other two lakes are better from what everybody's talked about. DA. Okay, it's a good question. Who's your pick to win the Elite at Hartwell this weekend?
I get one.
You get one.
Probably go with the mill.
Yeah, going with the local boy.
Yeah.
What about you, Alex?
I was going to say Emil too.
Emil, yeah. What about you?
I think Emil top fives it, but I'm going to go Fothergill. I think Fothergill will just come out of nowhere and win his first Elite trophy.
Okay. Yeah, we were talking about that before the thing.
Winning weight. What do you think it's going to take?
Oh, we already did the math on this. I asked him for you got here. Okay. He pulled out a calculator. I'm going to go ahead and say I'm pulling for Emil or Paul Marks Jr. Yeah. I'm pulling for those two guys. I'd love to see them get their first win. And Hartwell's a lake they know very well. If I couldn't pick those two guys out, it would be tough to go against Patrick Walters up there.
He's got like 44% in fantasy fishing.
It'd be tough to go. It'd be tough to go against Patrick Walters. Now, listen to his theory on the winning weight. Go ahead and talk. I asked him this, what he thought it would take.
I'm gonna go somewhere between 68 and 74 pounds, and I think you'll see a combination of like a 22 and 18, then maybe slack off 17. Something. It's not going to be just one consistent weight all 3 days, and you're going to see some big sight fishing bags. Some of those guys can absolutely do it for 4 days in a row. They're animals at looking at them, and that may be who wins it. But I think the guy who's going to win it is probably going to be a herring spawn guy, if I had to guess.
Which is what works for Emil.
Or Welcher could just keep it.
Or Welcher. That's true.
Pinned up.
It's hard to bet against Welcher right now.
In general, he's been that way. It's finally like catching fire.
Yeah.
Because like when I met him back in 2019, like I was like, this dude, he is good.
Yeah.
And he was just in the old blue F-150, unwrapped, just pulling the boat around and putting in, catching them. Like he's
so easy to root for.
Oh yeah, 100%.
I mean, he's very nice.
Yeah.
But he's also very smart.
Very intelligent.
So he's, but yeah, Welcher is kind of tough right now. He probably could catch fish out here in that road out in front of the shop.
He found a way.
He can figure out how to do that. Let's see. Paul B says, same. I tried it because of you guys talking about it. And then Silverpunk said, Danny, he's talking about the cast braid. And then Silverpunk says, Danny, I used to be fat. Huh?
Back on it.
Back on the cast braid or the fat? Pillsbury Grand Butter Biscuits. Hey, listen, them things are good, dude. So I think I am the Cadillac of the busted biscuit right there. So I like that right there. Matt, what are you laughing at?
That's funny.
Listen, at my age, I ain't working out like you. I went through that period of life where I was worried about, my physique. That's gone out the window. You guys will get old one of these days. Any opinions / experience with a topwater front runner bait?
I used to throw it a bunch as a kid. Like,
Yeah.
I'd be in the boat with people and I wouldn't have one on. They're like, all right, you got to get this on and do it. And I've kind of like gradually gone away from it. I don't know if I should have, but it kind of got like a nuisance to me, kind of like the donkey rig, where it's like, all right, I'm essentially casting a Carolina rig at school and fish.
You are. Yeah, that's
So
a good way to put it.
But I mean, it's not that bad, but it's
Right.
It's kind of more cumbersome to be pinpoint accurate.
At least your
times.
bottom end has weight
Right.
instead of where
Yeah,
Carolina
it's not
rig you don't
the
have.
same, but
yeah.
it's still a little bit harder to lead those fish perfectly and do that with a front runner. But you can catch two, so
Yeah.
I
Okay.
mean, I don't know.
Farmer. Now we kind of hit this a little bit. We'll do it again since you asked the question. How many spots will you hit in a day, Brooks, while running and gunning? How long will you give an area? So you said like right now you go 20 to 40, but you'll recycle those
For a tournament.
for a
No,
tournament. We were
my
talking
God.
about for a tournament. We were talking about for a tournament. How long will you give an area though? 2 cast, 5 cast?
If a productive or just something I just don't like. Like if I pull up, I see bait, I see some fish, or if I pull up, I scan it a couple of times, I'm just not seeing them.
Let's go with the worst case scenario.
Worst
don't
case
like it,
scenario,
yeah.
I'll give it 2 to 3 minutes at max.
Max.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
Tournament probably less.
Yeah, that makes sense right there. Robert Ray, appreciate you joining us tonight, buddy. Brooks, I'm fishing a tournament May 3rd on Lanier. What would be your top 2 to 3 strategies? Lower Lake or above Browns Bridge? So for you guys that don't know Lake Lanier, Browns Bridge is pretty much mid-lake.
Yeah.
So will you be fishing? Would you fish north? Would you fish south? Give the guy a couple of strategies.
Yeah, he's a kid I've kind of mentored on.
There you go.
He's awesome. So
Good for you, Robert.
I would fish. I think both ends of the lake could play. I've seen the upper end play really good here recently, but definitely a Fluke and a Topwater are going to be 2 of my predominant baits for sure. And then kind of looking for some shallower brush, and then also just continuing off that herring spawn bite or that seawalls or the blow throughs, things like that. That's still going to be a really good deal early May.
Okay, there you go. Yard. I love the names right there. I was up at Nick's Bridge boat ramp Saturday, and they were busting all around. Was throwing a bone-colored spook and had no takers. Would a Fluke have been a better option or something else?
I would suggest a Fluke.
What about and he had didn't he say he had a bone? Was it bone-colored he said he was throwing?
Yeah.
Bone colored Topwater.
Yeah, so that's what he was throwing. And you said a bone is a good color for for a Fluke. So probably so. Appreciate your question. Oh, Alan Brooks there. Now, Alan, I'm going to tell you right now, I was watching the NPFL the other day, and the old fella would get your fish on, hit me up in the comment section, wanted to know about the TAA. So I didn't, I told him we're working on it. Not we. You're working on it right there. So I hope we get that all squared away and you get another one of them great tournaments up. What's up, gentlemen? Brooks, what did you think about the Tom Bigby? Did you get stuck?
Oh, I got stuck.
What is the Tom Bigby for somebody that doesn't know what that is?
So that was our last open, and it was
Was he there?
Yeah, he was.
Okay, Alan was fishing it.
Yeah, it was a dangerous place. I'll say that.
Where was it at?
Mississippi, Columbus.
And that's the name of the lake, the Tom Bigby?
Tom Bigby. It's called the 10 Tom Waterway.
Okay.
And then we fished the Aliceville pool, the Columbus pool, and then Aberdeen. Those are the 3 pools. I mean, you can go further than that, but most guys didn't. But it's sketch. Like the Red River's bad, but this place it's pretty bad.
What is it, like stumps and everything?
Stumps. You're rolling stumps all day. You got sandbars everywhere. You're getting stuck on them. You're pushing. You're getting a couple bites. And I had a pretty good game plan coming into that tournament. First day, roll it to my spot, shad spawn. Second cast, catch a 5-pounder. I'm like, that's a unicorn for this place. Next cast, catch one almost 3 pounds, and then work my trolling motor prop again for the 3rd time that
you
week.
Broke it.
Yeah, on stumps. It's a crazy, crazy place, but it's kind of a really cool fishery in a way, because when you do catch a decent fish, it moves you a ton. So, I mean, I didn't personally have a good tournament, but those kind of grinder tournaments are definitely something to look forward to for sure.
So you said you caught a 5-pounder, and that was a unicorn there.
Yeah, and then I had one more, almost 3, and that was my day.
That was your day.
Yeah, just spent the rest of the day missing.
See, that's what happens with me. I'll catch a good fish early. Okay, what'd you say, second cast?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, that's the worst thing in the world for me. Oh yeah, I got
That's
it.
bad.
I got it.
Because it is such a high. You're on that high, you're riding it, you're like, okay, if
I tried to
this
forget
if
about
this
it.
is
I was like,
happening,
Yeah, I can't.
then it's only going to get better. And then
I
a lot of
catch one
times
like
it gets
that in a
worse.
lake I'm not supposed to. I'm sending pictures to everybody. Probably just jinx myself
Yeah.
right out of it. And I'll get to Matthew Smith. So you ain't got to pull up it just yet. But Andy says, congrats to Alan for cashing the check there. Ask how his blisters are doing. So, Alan, how's your blisters doing over there? Curious as to what that's about. Matthew Smith right above it says, does sand or hard clay return hotter on down scan? We don't get a lot of down scan questions, so that's a good one. So when you're over that bottom, hard clay or sand, can you tell a difference on your down scan?
For sure. I mean, any hard bottom, whether that's just going from silt to like clay, it's going to show up and kind of glow really bright. It really makes a difference on like Tennessee River places where you're just idling, and then you can see a little section that kind of glows on your graph. Those are those hard spots or shell beds. But out here, definitely clay would be a lot harder than like sand or silt.
The clay would show up brighter, hotter.
Right, but it'd be, I mean, you could see it on side scan or down scan, but it'd be, I mean, you'd have to get somewhat close to the bank.
Okay.
I mean, clay runs out. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
but
no, I got what you're saying.
yeah,
For it to show up the way he's talking about,
Right.
hotter. Okay. Let's see. Wyatt Martin, you can see them spawning on blow-throughs in 8 foot around Vans Tavern. For those of you guys, I don't know if you got some people you're taking out on the trip, but the Vans. So I didn't say that, he did. Trey Crenshaw threw the wacky worm the last 2 weekends on there and put 27 bass in the boat. Yamamoto black with blue flake. I'm curious, Trey, did you throw it weightless? That's just for me personally. I just want to know if you threw it weightless. Now, they're out of stock. I'm trying to get them, but I'm telling you, there's a color Yamamoto makes on Lake Lanier. It's vicious. It's like, we call it monster shad. It's like 297/chart. It's a shad color. It's the best, bar none, Yamamoto out there. But appreciate you throwing the wacky worm. Makes me feel good. Cranking and yanking Randy is a clickbait guy. I think they all are to a point. Ron Swinford, my buddy over there in Rome, we found thread fins and gizzards Saturday at Weiss, and the thread fins were spawning, but we could not figure out a way to catch fish around it. Did catch a few white bass around the spawning shad. So let me ask you this, based upon what Ron said. You pull up, you see, thread fin, you see the bait's there, but the fish just aren't active. Are you just leaving, and we'll come back to that spot? But let's say you're in an electric only tournament like me, or kayak like Alex, and you got to stay there. Kind of walk me through how you would approach a spot like that.
I mean, I've seen it a lot of the times, especially largemouth related. I mean, you'll get there and they'll be schooling in the grass or just up on a seawall or rocks, and you'll be fishing for 20 minutes, and then you make one final pass through it, and it's lights out. So, I mean, the herring spawn is a little bit different, but I don't see a direct problem with like camping out area for a shad spawn in particular.
Okay. All right there. Craftmaster, appreciate you joining us tonight. Any tips for Keowee over the next week?
I fish Keowee a fair amount, like a couple of times throughout college, like 2 or 3 times a year. It's a cool lake. Whenever we did good there, we're just kind of chasing like the wolf packers on the bank. There's a lot of fish to be caught there, but it seems like the kind of 3 to 4 to 5 bigger fish are kind of in those groups just cruising the banks. But docks, laydowns are huge on Keowee, and then shade lines for sure. Okay,
there you go, right there. Robert Ray again here. Brooks, I'm fishing the GHSA State Championship on May 3rd. What would be your top 2 or 3 strategies? That's kind of very similar, Lower Lake or Brown Springs. Oh, did I already ask that question?
Yeah, we are 15 minutes behind.
Oh, sheesh, damn. All right, my bad. So
We're
anyway,
still on who we picked for the elites.
are they? Oh, good Lord.
Yeah.
Guys, listen, we were way behind, but we're trying to get everybody's questions. All right. Will Tom, I'm going to do that in a second. You ain't got to pull this other one up. But Brooks, Will Tom wants to know, how excited are you for the return of Bapple?
That's bush apple.
Do you like bush apple?
That's pretty good beer.
Have you drank the bush peach?
Yeah, I think so.
That's Drew Cook's drink of choice.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, he was on a couple of times, and he had cases of that stuff.
Really?
We actually bought some since he was going to be on, and we tried it. Would you hear that night?
No.
Yeah, it was pretty good. I liked it.
Of course you would. You're a kayaker.
I hate peaches.
No, man, it was good.
I'm
I don't like
not
peaches
a peach
either.
fan.
I don't like peaches
It
at
wasn't
all.
bad. It wasn't bad.
The beer was good.
You like the apple though, huh?
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Well, I have some next time you come.
All right.
Bush apple right there. All right, now let's get up to Benton's question right there. Jason Benton, how would you? Hey, listen, Benton. Listen, don't go to Blue Ridge this weekend. I got a tournament on Blue Ridge this weekend, but I'm going to ask that question for you and me. We got an electric only tournament with the electric bass opens up there going out of Dry Pond Ramp. How would you attack Blue Ridge right now? I've never fished it, but might go there this weekend. Now, Blue Ridge has got herring. It's smaller than Lanier. Got a little bit of a river that you can go up it. Have you fished it in a while? Once. Okay, but you kind of, it's still, wouldn't you think that the herring spawn kind of things we're talking about on Lanier, if it lays upright, could be in play?
The only difference with Blue Ridge is I'd kind of treat that as a true like Highland Reservoir where it's a lot steeper.
It is, yeah.
I mean, Lanier is a steep lake. It's deep.
Mm-hmm.
Don't get me wrong, but there's a lot more kind of contour that makes it a lot more approachable.
Right.
That's kind of like a true Highland Reservoir. So, I mean, definitely there'll be some fish around docks, things like that for sure.
Yeah.
But I couldn't spill too much knowledge if I'm being honest.
I'm gonna ask my buddy that fishes the NPFL, Baron Adams. That's his home lake. I'll try to get me some juice right before the tournament.
I did good this time last year there with a spinnerbait. If you can find wood, throw the spinnerbait and they'd hit it.
They hit it. How's Clarice doing? She's standing tall tonight.
Yeah, she's good. I'm keeping her warm.
She's keeping you warm. You warm back there with Clarice? What do you think about Clarice there, Brooks?
I haven't seen her.
You ain't seen?
Oh, she's lurking.
She's lurking right there. Yeah, she's cute, ain't she?
She ain't that kind of girl.
That's the ugliest blow-up doll in the history of blow-up dolls right there. So, let's see. All right, let's see. Let's go on down. Oh, Crankin' and Yankin's got a little tip for you guys. Threadfin shad equals chrome and black rattle trap. Hey, it could work right there. For the question about Heath Lake earlier, Ron says Topwater at Heath early, then go find a rock pile. A lot of rock piles over there. Let's scroll on down. Let's see. All right, Wyatt Martin. What's up, Far Dog? Appreciate you joining us out. Wyatt Martin. Brooks, when do you start looking for the blue spawning? I've already seen them in places. So I guess he's talking about herring. So that's already gone. I mean,
yeah, no, it's been going on for
it's been going on a while right now.
A couple weeks.
Let's see. I don't want to miss any questions. Okay, Brooks. Oh, okay. All right. Now this makes sense now. The bluegill spawn.
Yeah.
It should be because we had a full moon. The full moon in May ought to be hot and heavy on the beds.
May it definitely goes down. My favorite month for it is really June.
Like
once those fish kind of reset a little bit, I really like chasing that down in June, kind of around that Port Royale and up towards Laurel. There's some stuff that just doesn't get fished up there, and I'll take a day every summer or so and just kind of go run it for fun, and it's definitely some untapped stuff.
When the brim cometh, that's what Ryan used to say. All right, Matthew Smith. You guys are hammering on the questions tonight. You're making my job really, really easy. Brooks, when you get a young client, middle school or younger, looking to catch numbers versus size, how do you approach Lanier to keep them engaged?
All right. So, I mean, every guide trip is going to be a little bit different. I've got younger tournament guys, and I've got guys that are just getting into fishing. But kind of the foremost thing I like to do is just with the engagement is always be explaining like what we're doing, even if we're not actively catching fish. That minute, I'm trying to give them something and entertain them. And most of the time with LiveScope nowadays, it sounds bad, but they kind of glue to it, and it does a lot of the work for me. It's just something they can kind of be like, oh, there's my bait, and then there's the fish. And then even if they're not biting, it still kind of keeps them engaged throughout the day. Whereas if I'm just like, all right, throw a shakehead to the bank and drag it, I mean, they're going to tune out within 20 minutes.
Oh, for sure,
but if they're kind of engaged and seeing some kind of positive reinforcement, like, okay, we're going to get one at the next spot or something like that, then it seems to be pretty achievable.
That makes a lot of sense because they're actively seeing what you couldn't see without LiveScope.
Just the visual on actually putting a pen to paper and showing what you're talking about. You're like, okay, there's a brush pile at 100 foot. They're sitting high up in it. I'm going to throw this. And then you're like reel back in, hit it at 100 foot towards that dock or whatever you're saying. Like they have the visual. So as you're saying it, they're seeing it. And I think that makes a big difference in learning and efficiency in general.
Yeah, for sure. Tatum, what's the score of the Braves game? Look it up. Give me the score of the Braves game. Brooks, What's your favorite restaurant in Dahlonega?
So whenever me and Scooter like fishing a BFL or a Barnes tournament, whatever, I usually go stay up there with his family. And there's this place called it's gonna kill me for getting it.
And that's, huh? 4-2 Braves. Good. That's a good score.
Hold on, it'll come to me.
And I call it Dahlonega. It's not Dahlonega. It's
Johnny
Dahlonega.
Beats.
Huh?
Johnny Beats.
Johnny B's
It's these chicken wings or something.
chicken wings.
But they're money.
They're money. All
Yeah.
right, there you go. Brooks, are you fishing the Clarks Hill Classic coming up?
I believe I am. I've already paid for my BFL on Eufaula, so I'm kind of torn, but I think I'm leaning towards Clarksville. But then again, if I don't fish the BFL and Eufaula, I may not make the regional because I've missed 2 tournaments now for an open, but I really want to fish Clarksville. So I'm getting that because
Decisions. Welcome to adulting.
yeah, it's a lot.
You got to make those decisions. Pull up Jason Kloss right there. I like comments like this. I have been tournament fishing going on 9 years now. I just hired Brooks as a guide, and I will tell you he is the man. Very professional, and he doesn't hold back. Y'all need to reach out. Now, let me ask you, when I read something like that off, how's that make you feel?
It's pretty awesome. Jason, he's an awesome guy, and I told him we were going to go over a new technique, and we got some pretty incredible bites that day, and more so just had fun doing it, and it was a blast. And I hear a couple of comments like that, but it definitely makes me enjoy what I do.
Hey, absolutely. And for those, since we got it right now, and we're getting ready to do the question of the night, but right now, let's take a second. If someone wants to book a guide trip with you, what's the best way to get in touch with you?
Best way, you can go to brooksandersonfishing.com or either just shoot me a message on my personal Facebook or Brooks Anderson Fishing on Facebook.
Yeah. Listen, I will tell you this, and I'm not blowing smoke up his butt, but I have not heard anybody have a negative experience when they come in the shop. Lots of times guys will go out with a guide. If they don't like it, they'll let you know, and they'll come in here yapping and talking. It's just the way of the world. I've never heard anybody say anything.
What are your rates?
So 450 half and then 550 full.
450 and then 550. And I'm telling you, it's worth it, guys. If you want to, especially if you're learning something.
Yeah.
I mean, think of what college costs right there. So, let's see. Pull up Trey Crenshaw, and we're going to do the question of the night right there. I like it. 1/4 ounce weighted weedless hook. Okay, so he is using some weight on his wacky hook.
That says
That
1/8.
says
Fudge, dude.
1/4 ounce.
You know what it is?
dang.
You know what it is? Listen. It's a combination of a 5-hour energy and some bush light. 1/8 ounce weighted weedless hook. They hammered that thing on the backside of docks. They were stacked up underneath. Okay. All right. So listen, now it's time for the question of the night. All right, and I'll get to serve IT in a second. But I want to tell you guys in the comment section, there is a boatload of questions for Brooks. We're going to have to watch for a while.
We're all caught up.
Oh, did we finally catch up?
Yeah, we're all
If
caught
I
up.
didn't get to your question and we miss it during this, type it again right afterwards. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and tell them. Let's go ahead and pull up our buddies at Serve IT, especially since Alan's watching. That's pressure when the owner of the company is watching.
Good.
This would be the time to blow it, right? But guys, if your company is looking for an all, see, I blew it right there. The pressure.
Because you talked about
If
it.
your company.
If your company, listen, if your business is looking for a total IT solution, Serve IT is the company for you. American-based, strong customer service oriented. They will get on your problems if you have any till they're done, but they will work to eliminate those. And it doesn't matter whether your business is large or small, Serve IT is the IT company for you. And I talk about it all the time. I went down there. I walked around in their facility. The process that they use is on the wall. They kind of live by this code, and it's the most impressive thing I've ever seen with a business. And I wish I could figure out how to do it here at Fish North Georgia. I might actually make some money, but it's amazing. So if your company's looking for that, big or small, go to serveit.com, check them out. And also, if you are looking for a career change, you don't necessarily have to be trained in IT, but if you got the right characteristics, what they're looking for, if you're a problem solver, if you're good with people, if you got strong customer service skills, go to Serve IT, check out their career section, give them a call, or I guess you fill it out. You can fill it out right there on the website. Just tell them you heard about it at Fish North Georgia, and they will give you a call back. So we appreciate Alan and the people over at Serve IT for their support of the Livewell. Now, here's what you're going to win tonight. I'm going to give you a magic swimmer. It's herring spawn right there, and this one is the color Ghost White, okay? Now, we have to say this every week. There are 4 answers to this question, okay?
The first person's going to do it.
It should be easy, but there's 4. So and we say, yeah, they will do that. A lot of guys will put half of the answers in the comment section, and I'm telling you, just helping out everybody else. So there are 4 answers that we're looking for, okay? It happened on this day. What is that, 22nd? April 22nd. So here's what you got to give me. You got to give me the year and the event for 2 separate events. And I find this kind of ironic, which is why I chose this. So there are 2 events that happened on this day in history. When you put them 2 side by side, it's kind of like one end of the spectrum to the other. Is that a good way to describe it, Alex?
Mm-hmm.
So what were the 2 events that happened? I need the year and the event. And you can absolutely look it up, but keep in mind the events kind of are ironic when you compare the fact that they happened on the same day. Was that pretty good?
Mm-hmm.
Let me try that again.
It's very
2
very
events
ironic.
happened on this day in history. The irony is the 2 events. The fact that these 2 events happened on the same day. First person that puts all 4, I need the date in the first event, and I need the date in the second event. So anyway, go for it right there. Alan Brooks, you were hired as a sales manager. Come on. Hey, Alan, listen, I can be bought. I can be bought right there. I can do this part-time. I'll come sell all the IT stuff. You just got to teach me what I'm talking about. We'll go ahead with the question. Let's see. All right, well, Silverpunk real quick. Don't pull up. Leave that one there. Leave that and pulled up. But Silverpunk said, is the Monster Shad Cinco color, it is the only color that shows sold out at Hammond's. And I'm sold out. You can't get them. It's like $297/chart or something like that. I'm going to ask you this question, and while you're talking, Alex can scroll back down and see if anybody.
I'm watching on my phone too.
Are you watching your phone? Okay.
Yeah.
What is the trick to shaking a minnow? I keep it above them, shake it, and pull it away when they start coming for it. They follow it and just turn away.
Shaking a minnow is one of the most difficult things. No, sorry. Shaking a minnow is probably one of the most difficult techniques to just like talk about and not seeing it. It's a lot easier to like get in the boat with someone and be like, okay, that's how it's done. But there's no just one end all be all speed or retrieve, but definitely keeping it above them and going away from them is kind of like the golden standard of it.
Right.
But you do have to adjust that more so inside of just simply doing that. So it's hard to just.
What are you changing? Like if you start seeing this happen, what are you changing?
You're close, Yard.
Definitely speed for and foremost. I think that has a big deal with it. But the biggest thing with it is just kind of getting that bait coming at the right speed, even before that fish may necessarily get like level or see it with it. So,
okay. Let me go ahead to the guys in the answer question. Now, the poison gas in warfare, 1915. I said a couple of you guys put that. The poison gas is not it. Scroll a little more. You guys are close. But it's not the poison gas event, although I could have put that down, and that would have been good. But there's something else that happened later on, kind of a tragedy. You guys keep going like that.
Kind of.
How would you?
Kind of.
Yeah, let's just say it happened in this century. The second part happened in this century. Brooks, how would you approach Eufaula right now? Coleman Jones wants to know.
Definitely offshore and then Shad spawn in the morning if the water levels are right.
Okay, there you go. Derek put a very good answer, but that's not it. On April 22nd, 1945, Adolf Hitler admitted defeat. On the same day in 1970, the first Earth Day was celebrated. I'm going to go ahead and tell you guys, Earth Day is part of the answer, but that's not what I'm looking for on the second part of the answer. So hopefully that helps you, and I can send this magic swimmer to
The second
somebody.
part is after Earth Day, not before it.
Yeah, that's a good hint. The second part occurred after Earth Day was established. DA, Guadalajara sewer explosions, a devastating urban disaster. I missed that one. That's not it. But you're getting close, guys, huh?
He's using AI.
Is that what is Dylan using that?
Keep
Nobody will
reaching
get this. Yes, you will. If you guys keep doing it. And I'll tell you where I got my answers. I'm gonna help you guys out. Associated Press. The Associated Press every day puts out on
You
this.
gotta
day.
quit feeding them. You feed them too fast.
Well, huh? I'm not making it
Yes,
easy. Hell,
you
nobody
are.
can answer the question. Aaron Parker should just declare me the winner. Nope, you got to get it, dog. Nope, Silver Punk. That's not it. Yes, Paul B. Paul B is the winner tonight. Deepwater Horizon 2010. The BP owned oil rig sank. It had some explosions a couple of days before, and it sank in the Gulf of America, Mexico, whatever you guys want to say. So you had Earth Day in 1970, and then the Deepwater Horizon sank on this day right there. Cheater, Paul.
He
Aaron
used his
Parker,
forward-facing sonar.
cheater like that. So, but listen,
It's a good movie too if you haven't seen it.
Deepwater Horizon. That's why I picked it. I was going to give out the hint. It was a movie.
Yeah, it's a great
But-
movie.
Hell, I learned some other stuff happened on this day too. So you guys were great, but unfortunately, Paul B is the winner tonight.
Unfortunately.
Or fortunately, unfortunate for the rest of you, fortunate for Paul B right there. There was a question, Brooks, when do you throw a scrounger, from Derek? And Paul B, I think I got your address, but just in case, send it to me again on Facebook.
Wow.
You throw a scrounger any?
I do. So
I love a scrounger.
Yeah, so Ryan's kind of forced it in my hand, but it's fun.
Mhm.
I've grown to actually like it, and I think May is probably the month I think it would shine the most. Kind of in that period where they're obviously feeding on bait a ton, but some of these fish are just kind of reluctant to come all the way to the surface at times. So that thing can get some pretty cool bites for sure, and I've seen them get some nice ones on it.
Yeah, I will tell you this too. If you're on Lake Allatoona, if you put a fluke on that scrounger and you throw it out and just drag it across some rocky points. Now I know you guys like throwing. Cast has got their bait out now. I learned it with a fluke or super fluke. That thing will get hammered, and I would just slow roll it, ticking rocks. It was a really tough day. Scrounger, yeah. I mean, I was beating the paint off of it, but I'm telling you, it will pick you up some fish. And I would imagine any Highland reservoir's got some rocks.
It's a really good schooling fish bait too. When they won't buy anything else, like a downsized one, like you're saying, if you can get it to them, a scrounger can be money for sure.
Yeah, and of course, if you got one on and they bust top, you can chunk that thing in the middle and burn it if you have to. So good all around bait right there. Matthew Smith. I like this one. For non-dragging presentations on herring lakes, how often is your retrieve erratic versus steady?
So I actually had a guide trip about a week ago, and we kind of discovered something that really opened my eyes to that. And I think I'm going to vary it a lot more. You've heard me talk about, like, when I fish a jig out here, I'm not just dragging, I'm kind of snapping and getting aggressive with it.
Yeah.
But we started doing some similar stuff with like a Nico and a shaky head. I'm gonna keep some of it back, but it
gatekeeper.
But it's pretty crazy. I think there are a lot other options, I'll say that, than just simply dragging it or shaking the slack. So I would mix in a couple other things for sure.
I'm going to go to you, Clint, on that because you're notorious for dragging.
Mm-hmm. I'm a dragger.
You're a dragger.
So
but do you every once in a while do like what he's talking about, snap it, pop it a little bit?
Most of the time it's on accident and I'm reeling it back to the boat and I get bit. I'm like, oh, dang, I should try that some more.
And then you don't.
It never works again. Yeah.
I get it right there. Peyton Dunn. Brooks, tell us about the land shark boat on Lanier.
That's I mean, there's one in or the marina in Shoal Creek.
Yeah.
The name, Lake Lanier Islands, all that stuff. There's a big boat there. There's no correlation to it.
You just saw it.
Yeah.
There's a big boat on Lanier. It's a land shark. Farmer, what do you start out with on a herring spawn in the morning? So again, you come up, blow through, first bait you're throwing.
I really love a wake bait. Wake bait is money. If you get a cloudy day like today, a wake bait can be just lights out, but I'm probably still just throwing a fluke.
Yeah, he said fluke earlier, but wake bait's a good option. Far dog. Brooks, on Hartwell in the middle of May, what are some of the best patterns to look for in some juice areas such as a creek named? I'm from Oklahoma and I'm going over in May. So maybe give them a spot or two and some patterns. Now you're looking at middle of May, so you're probably your shad spawn, herring spawns are probably ending.
Yeah,
About that time. Throw a fluke,
honestly. But middle of May, you'll actually get some more fish to get on brush out there. Like a couple weeks ago, the herring spawn was like full swing on Hartwell, which it still is. But definitely, I like the lower end, call it like Gum Branch, Powder Bag, Sadler's Creek, all that stuff on the lower end is really where I like to kind of hang out. But then another good zone is just both sides of Andersonville Islands. Pretty much every couple hundred yards, there's a big point or hump that has got some form of a cane or hardwood pile on it. So you could pretty much troll through both those sides of Andersonville Islands and catch some good fish.
There you go, Far Dog. You heard it there from the expert right there. Patricia Leanne Shaw, Topwater points, Tugalo. Oh, he was answering Far Dog. Okay, there you go right there. That's a great thing about this comment section. Sometimes you guys get helping each other out right there. Pull up Aaron Parker. Sounds like he had an experience right here. Got y'all laying on my pier. Well, we appreciate that. Caught a snake on a black blue cleanup cross, stomped it with my boot and kicked it back in the water, scared to death, turned around and caught a 4-pound largemouth 10 foot away from that. You ever got a snake on your boat?
So back to the Tom Bigby, I've had a couple try to breach ship, and I kicked the trolling motor, got out of there. But I've had one get in the boat one time, but I kind of just looked at it and waited till it went away. I didn't want to mess with it.
Did it get out of the boat by itself?
Yeah, I was not really the biggest fan of it going down.
I'm not a fan of snakes. You ever got a snake in your boat? I did with Thornton when we were fishing that Monday nighter on Alatoona.
I'm sure he's got a snake on the boat.
Yeah, he got a lot of stuff on the boat right
He's
there.
got a brown snake on the boat.
Have brown snake? Have you ever, Alex, in the kayak? You never had a snake
I've
try to
seen
get in?
a couple, but they've never come over towards
There's
me.
nothing spookier at night when you got the moon out and you could see it, and all of a sudden one about 5 foot just kind of swimming by the boat.
No.
Oh, no,
You want to know what's spooky at night?
Oh,
It's that random beaver tail.
Oh,
slapping
random
the
beaver
water.
tail scared the
That was
daylight out of you.
I got the daylight scared out of me on Alatoona last year. I was night fishing Alatoona, and it is dark.
It is dark.
Straight up
Yeah.
dark, and I'm slinging a Topwater up the bank, and I hear a boat go by like 50 yards away or whatever, and it must have been the same time this creature appears on my boat. And so I'm like just sitting there going down the bank, and I like look, and from the reflection of my graph screen is all the light that's back there, and it's on brightness all the way down, so it's just a little bit of light. I turn around my back deck. I felt like somebody was looking at me. And I look back, and I just see two little eyes staring back at me. And I'm like, oh, my God. And then it goes, ah! And it freaking flies at me. It's a blue heron landed on my back deck, and I didn't hear it. He's just standing there on my back deck.
He was on
staring
your
at me.
boat?
Yes, on my back deck of my boat. And he goes, ah! And he flies at me and over my head. I thought he was coming just beak on. Just
I got a question.
let's hear it.
You didn't hear that thing land on your boat?
I'm saying the boat went by. I feel like at the same time that he,
okay.
and so I didn't hear it because I was like getting splashed by the waves or whatever.
I
from the
got
wake
you.
boat.
Okay, because I'm like,
But it's
Alatoona
pitch
gets
black dark, and you just
Alatoona
see
is
two
dark.
little
You
eyes.
fish Alatoona
very
at night?
dark.
I have a couple times. There is it's dark.
And they say if you go up to Carter's, it's like twice as dark at night because there's
Yeah.
nothing on
Oh, I bet
Carter's.
it is scary dark out there.
Oh, what's the scariest thing you ever experienced on your boat?
On the water,
Yeah,
probably the Great Lakes.
just being out there.
I
or
would
just,
agree.
I mean,
it was scary.
when I first went to the Great Lakes a couple of years ago, I vividly remember launching my boat and leaving this little harbor. I was like, oh, okay, I'm gonna go run to this island. I'm like, it's 5-10 miles.
Right?
It
I'm-
looks so much closer.
I'm like a mile into this. I'm like,
yeah,
where's the land?
yeah.
And then I'm driving out there, and then the weather gets bad, and then I'm in the troughs of 4 and 5 footers, and
Oh, really? Yeah.
up here.
What lake?
Saginaw Bay. So
Okay.
but it's bottom of the Huron, I believe. But it's raw.
Yeah, no.
I mean, day one of the tournament, we were in the troughs of big ones too, and then we speared one, and there was water floating up to my knees, and it's some crazy stuff.
Yeah,
out there.
no, that's like on the TV show I puked when we were on Lake Michigan
Yeah.
because it's calm, and then all of a sudden out of nowhere, it just churns up and then like the ocean.
Yeah, and the biggest thing, like if you put in on that side of the lake, don't even think about going anywhere else. You need to stay relative to that region because I mean, in 30 minutes you can be pretty much done for out there.
Yeah.
So they told us a story when we were up there because they, there's salmon, however you want to say it, in Lake Michigan, but they were stocked. And then like 1970 or something, they were having the first tournament. And all these locals showed up, and they were in like John boats and stuff. Big storm came up and killed like half the field.
Really?
Drowned them all. Yeah, seriously. That's how wickedly fast it.
Lake Michigan don't play.
No, it don't play. And when you lose sight of you lose sight of the land up there pretty easy.
Oh, yeah.
They're huge. Nobody thinks about it. You might as well be out on the ocean. You're in a bass
The
boat.
scariest part is so when all that water moves, it moves all that sand. So you can have a trail that you ran and that wind blew all day, and then you beat your boat, it's done. You're sunk.
Yeah.
So it's crazy.
That ain't like me. I can't do that. Pull up. Let's see where we at. So I saw a comment about Stone. Okay, there you go. Pull up Stone Cold Steve D. Just started using spinnerbaits. Got 2 good fish chasing them, then hooked, but both of them got loose. As I got them up, is it better to have a second hook? So what he's asking is, do you run a trailer hook on your spinnerbaits?
So I actually do not. I love throwing a spinnerbait this time of year out on there. When you got some wind, it can be awesome for sure. But I actually don't run a trailer hook. I don't even run a trailer or like a swim bait or anything when I am
You just bare spinnerbait.
Right, because I don't want anything. I just want that thing burning really fast. I'm doing largemouth or something. I may add a trailer hook or kind of a paddle tail or something to slow it down. But for spots, I don't like anything in the way.
Do you use a stinger or anything like that?
I'll normally put like an echo on the back of it, but I don't throw a stinger.
You don't throw an extra hook or nothing like that. Okay. Let's see. Go ahead and scroll on down. There was a comment. Guy B had a snake hit a chug bug one time. Thank God it came off for sure. Patricia Leanne Shaw had a bat rub my arm. Now them bats get brave right about dusky dark too.
I took a bat to the face on Lanier on a boat.
You took a bat to the face?
In the face, dude. I swear to God.
Did you get COVID after?
No, I did not get COVID.
All right, here's my question.
Yeah, we were on pad in the dark and right in the face.
Did you scream like a girl?
Oh, I screamed.
I bet you did.
I about lost my glasses and everything.
I would have screamed too if a bat hit me in the face. Zach Hahn, I think it's Hahn. What 3? Okay, well, far dog. I'll get to far dogs next. Pull up Zach's because I already started that question. What 3 rods would y'all always have on your boat? I'll let you answer that in first, and then I'll let Clint answer it, and then Alex answer it.
So let's talk about this time of year.
Yeah, this time of year.
Yeah, Fluke, Sebile, and then Topwater.
Okay.
Always.
Alex, kayaker dude.
I'm gonna go Topwater, but I won't carry as many, so my Topwater will be like a Topwater bait or a Fluke, and then I'll go with like a shaky head, and then probably a jig.
Okay. What about you, Clint?
I'll go Topwater for sure, Nico, and a glide bait.
Okay. I will go a wacky worm, and a wacky worm. Hey, I'm consistent. No,
Do you ever actually rig up more than one wacky worm?
I have 3 rods.
Tournament. They all got wacky.
I have 3 spinner rods. Oh, listen, dude, I like that wacky one.
He's got a 30-second, a 3/32, and an 8.
or like that, a quarter, like
odd.
that guy. Like a quarter. No, in all seriousness, I have a wacky. I'll probably have a Topwater, and then maybe a shaky head or a Nico. But I will throw that wacky worm 90% of the time. David Weaver. My brother caught an Osprey on a Spook.
Dang.
Couldn't get away from him, and he or she was not happy. And wrapped in braid, it took a couple minutes with his head covered, and we let
That's
it go.
a bird
no
you don't want to tango with.
Osprey. What's them goon-looking birds and blackbirds that dive?
Cormorants.
Loons. I said a goon. A loon. So anyway, there's a Brent Barclay up here on, I think it was on Carter's. His son hooked one on an underspin because them things go out there diving for bait.
Oh, yeah.
And I've seen the video. And he fought that kid. They thought they had a striper or something like that. And that kid fought it. And they finally got it up, got it on deck, and he had to like sit over, unhook it, and then release it. But that kid fought that loon for 5 minutes. I mean, it was the craziest thing I've ever seen.
I was on Norman 2 years ago fishing a college tournament, and it was like bright sunny morning, and we were going down this the seawall, and we were throwing whopper ploppers, and I leaned into one, I'm like, dang, go and get the net. and then like I can't see anything because
Right.
the sun's like in my eyes. I get like halfway to the boat and it's a hawk.
Oh,
And we got it back there in the splash wheel, got it, flew off, everything's fine. But it took me a couple minutes to like evaluate the situation at hand. I was like, all right, there's a hawk.
He had to evaluate the
There's
situation.
definitely different types of birds. Like I've caught a seagull on the Great Lakes on an OG, like came down and tried to swipe it and stuff. But like that's not near as bad as dealing with like once you get them bigger birds, like it's sketchy.
It is right there. So, Brooks, what is your favorite glide bait and what pound test do you use?
I really like the what?
My wife chimed in. Seriously, the doll. Listen, Clarice is keeping Alex company back there. Move your head. Move your head. You can see, as you see, look, there's nothing attractive about that doll. It's just Clarice.
She's not that kind of girl.
She's not. We're gonna get a sign made to put around her neck. I'm not that kind of girl. But anyway, back to the glide bait.
I really like the clutch or the KGB. Those are two good ones. But clutch darter is hard to beat on a herring lake, and then KGB, it's like the resin ones are really good.
What do you throw?
I like a darter. The boss is fun when you're trying to catch a big one. They're
Right.
fry garters or stuff like that. The Stormer Rashi, I caught more fish on that glide bait than any other one too.
Really?
Yeah, like I got like when I first really learned how to glide bait fish, like that was the one I got because that was Pollinix glide bait, and I was like, I'm gonna learn how to throw it, and I caught like over 100 fish on it in a year. I thought it was awesome.
Do you realize your chest bounces when you talk?
That's just my heart.
Like
beating
you,
for
like
you,
your
Danny.
like your left. You're
It's
bouncing
just
out here.
not-
It's hard to talk to you when your boobs bouncing, and not like mine. Like when I'm running, like you're over there just flexing all
I'm
that.
not flexing.
Hey, listen, I'm just giving you heck for being in shape. Go up there right above Patricia Leanne, right there. Darian Moss. Are you using the old school Sebile or one of the new ones like the Berkeley or the Spro Sashimi?
I like the old school ones, but you
Can
can't.
you really tell a difference?
Yeah, 100%.
What's the difference?
There's a lot of difference.
What's the difference? I'm not disputing you. I want to know what the difference is.
So the old ones, none of the joints stick. So
Okay.
you can burn it at the slowest or highest speed, whichever you need to do for that day, and it's going to run 100% true anytime.
Okay.
So the newer ones, I'm just saying it. They're going to stick up.
Okay.
Some of them blow out a little bit, but honestly, one that's really impressed me is that Spro, the sashimi swimmer. That thing excels at all speeds, and that's one I would choose.
The Spro
as one you
sashimi.
can buy right now.
Yeah.
That one and the 125 natural herring. You can put a little bit of weight on the treble up front and keep it down, and that thing is pretty money.
It's got an extra joint compared to the
Right, but you can
Merc-
you can burn that thing and try to blow it out, and it will not.
will not blow out.
That's a good one.
Okay, there you go. That's big praise for the
What kind of
Spro right
rod
there.
do you throw a Sebile on?
I throw it on I think it's a 7. It's a medium heavy Dobbins, but it's more of a moderate. But I like that whole kind of rod to just bend when I load up on one. Definitely not anything stiff, for sure.
Right, that makes sense. What do you throw yours on?
That's why I was asking because I really don't throw one much.
What speed reel?
I like a 7. I pretty much throw 7s just across the board.
Across the board.
I don't like to pick up a reel and it be like a 5 or like an 8 because then I don't know exactly what I'm doing. But a 7, I can usually, in my brains, speed it up or slow it down. It's not too different than everything else I have.
That's a good point right there. David Weaver. My brother has great luck. He caught a loon on a jerk bait. Not as bad to get off the hook. I mean, I ain't caught a bird. I've caught a snake before, and Farmer caught an alligator. He was in Florida or something like that.
I've got some.
You've caught gators
Oh,
before?
yeah. That's
No, not me right there. Yard wants to know, good question here, when fishing floating docks, like everywhere on the near, are you casting over the cables to the back of the docks or fishing the sides in the front of the dock? What bait works best for floating docks? Now, I would imagine if you can and if it's possible, you're skipping under those cables, right?
Yeah, for largemouth,
For
definitely.
largemouth.
But there's a really big like pre-spawn bite, and then even when those spots do get to spawning, I mean the sides of the docks and front of the docks can be just as powerful to catch good ones. But I typically will try to get a cast further back in there a lot of the times. But most of the time on LiveScope, you can really tell if they're on the front, just in that middle open slip, or on the sides or on the poles or something. But I wouldn't say there's just like, all right, you have to get to the back of every single dock.
We're talking about for spots, right?
Right. But
Okay.
for largemouth, I would definitely put it where you don't think a bait can get.
Well, what bait works best for those? And do largemouth and spot. Like if you're skipping the dock.
Spots, just a light shaky head 1/8 ounce or a light Nico rig.
Something with a slow fall.
Slow fall. Not quite wacky, but it's
it's okay. You're close. You're close.
And then for largemouth, I really like just either like a straight wacky or a glide bait or mag draft.
Okay. Tony Hall wants to know, what's your favorite wake bait?
Favorite wake bait? It's called the Spro Zero Minnow 130.
Okay.
PH has a good one too, and then there were some old ones I really like, but for just call it new school one, you can get the Spro Zero Minnow is pretty hard to beat.
Yeah, they actually asked me if I had one because you were going to show it.
Yeah, we've been catching some on it, and it comes with like the best terminal on it, so you're good to go.
Spro, you can't beat Spro's terminal with that. So on anything. Clarice has a thing for those kayak guys. That's why I stuck her in there back there with those guys. But let's see. Fish don't quit hitting old school lures. Anglers quit using them. Patricia Leanne. So, okay, that's true. Very true. So you got an old school bait or technique that you still use these days? Or are you pretty much all modern?
No, there's definitely a couple old school things for sure.
Give me an example. That you can. I know you don't want to let out all your secrets.
He said he liked to throw spinnerbait.
Well, spinnerbait is old school. Okay, well, let me ask you this about spinnerbait right now. You throwing the mini-me hidden weight style that you can burn, or you just on a regular old double willow?
I throw two. The mini-me is kind of the one I grew up throwing for as long as I can remember. That's just kind of like the golden standard spinnerbait for linear. I like white on white blades, 1/2 or 3/4 ounce, and then a new one from Norries. It's called a Wind Range. It's a JDM one, but it's got a really thin wire, small hook, and it really works well for spots.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I can get Norries stuff.
Yeah, it's killer.
Is that legit?
Oh, yeah.
I think Drew Cook put out a Facebook post or something the other day, and he was fishing with some Norries stuff.
Yep.
Yeah,
So
they make a good blade.
Spro is bringing them over.
They are.
Yeah,
That's a distributor.
Yep. So that'd be something we got to check out right there. If there were gators on Lanier, he would have caught one on a horny toad by now for sure. I'm telling you. Mendel Bird caught a turtle on a spook here on Murray. Thought it was a giant. On a spook. How slow were you working?
I caught a turtle on a minnow at Murray.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I could see the minnow, but on Topwater spook, that's pretty interesting right there. Coleman Jones. Brooks, what's your favorite minnow to shake?
I like an Echo and then Z-Man Jerk Shad. Those are probably my two go-tos.
Okay. What about you, Clint? You throw the minnows a lot.
I like
You throw the Echo?
Yeah, Cast Echo or 6 Sense Aussie has been.
You have been liking that one.
I like it a lot.
Oh, what now?
6 Sense Aussie.
6 Sense.
I like it
Aussie.
because it's two-tone. They pour it in Texas, and it just has that good two-tone color. Like their colors are good. It's simple. It rolls really good.
Okay. Cranking and yanking.
You skip
Oh, no,
Paul
I skipped Paul. I'm sorry. Let's hit Paul. Still can't pronounce that last name.
Bork.
Bork?
Yep.
Well, what's up, Paul Bork?
Paul's the man. He's striking. He works for striking.
Well, we got royalty in the house
Yeah.
then.
Mm-hmm.
Paul's royalty.
Paul is also the only reason I'm sitting here today.
Why is that?
Because out of college, he gave me an internship, and I started filming fishing shows with him.
So he is the reason that you
he is
got
the
behind the
reason.
camera.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Well, Paul, that is awesome right there.
Yep. Paul's the man.
And you do a very good job of it.
Yep. And he taught me a lot, and he taught me how important and valuable networking was. And yeah, Paul was a mentor for me. Still is. He's an awesome guy.
That is awesome. Well, we appreciate it, Paul.
So, what are your favorite Sebile retrieves?
Favorite is definitely just a medium fast, no stopping, no pausing, just something consistent.
You don't ever stop it since you throw them old school Sebiles and let it turn around.
Never,
and that stuff.
absolutely not.
That's what everybody says with the old school Sebile. You know, you run it, and if you stop it, it turns a certain way. You don't ever mess with that.
I've done it a couple times and caught one at the boat, but consistently just keeping that bait going and fleeing away from them is going to work out more times than not.
Okay, there you go.
I've done that burn, pause thing, and I've had more blow-ups and misses than I have catches.
Okay, well, you guys get
I feel like they do key on it better when you just keep it consistent.
So, how much does brush become a factor this time of year? Because we've been talking about herring spawns and all that and blow-throughs and all that. You've mentioned brush a few times.
Mm-hmm.
The brush pile bite.
Yeah, it's on right now.
Really?
Yeah, it's not. No, not a lot of guys are running it, but it's going on for sure. We caught a bunch off brush today.
Now, are these mostly post-spawn fish that have gotten back out there? Or?
Some really don't look post spawn, but I'd say the majority of them are kind of post spawn. But it's not just like a full blown lake wide. I mean, it's probably 1 for 3 to 4 to 5 piles that you pull up on. It's right, but
Right.
I mean, it's definitely something you could do all day.
Is it the brush pile in a certain area? Like,
Yes, yeah, for sure. On that,
He
It's
said
not-
yes, but I'm not telling you.
listen,
That's intellectual
listen,
property.
It's
right
in the
there.
water.
550, Danny.
When-
550.
Listen, when he started answering that question and he got a smile on his face, I knew right then and there it was like, don't even bother.
No.
Don't even bother. But there are brush pile bites going on in there right now.
occurring.
You just got to find the right spot. Okay. And then I will say this about Brooks. He's always been very honest with me. He's like, hey, listen, there's some things we want to keep. But I get it because your business depends on it too and your tournament and all that. If you were on Hartwell,
Yeah.
like the elites are this weekend, and you got brush piles, where would those brush piles be located that you would take off
Okay,
on?
yeah,
You like how I did that?
that was real sleek.
All right, Danny Martin.
Hey, listen, for the right, Danny Martin. Listen, let's just say theoretically, I was fishing a lake. You know, I get what you're saying, but that is interesting. That I think a lot of guys equate brush piles to summertime.
Right. I mean,
Yeah,
I'll go ahead and say this. Like, I'm not running the full on just main lake deep stuff. Like, I'm kind of thinking about where those fish were, where
Mhm.
they're going to stop off on, and kind of fill in where they should be. I mean, they're not the easiest piles to find, but if you put the time
are they
in,
the ones you put out?
I don't drop any. I just go find it.
You just go find it.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, that's the
Let
right.
everybody
way to
else do
that.
the work.
Well, 100%. I mean, good. How many brush piles do you think? Lake Lanier is 38,000.
God, there's so many.
How many
There's-
man-made brush piles do you think is on that lake?
A ridiculous amount. And I went to Murray expecting it to be like that, and
It's
it's
not.
not. There's like
See,
no
on,
piles.
On Murray, the piles are in the like most oddball places.
Yeah, they were
They
so
don't make, it
random.
makes no sense.
No.
Like, okay.
I
Describe it.
noticed a couple piles this weekend that got moved. Like somebody's out there dragging a grappling hook. I was telling Brian Smith, I was fishing with him, and I was like, oh, yeah, there's 2 piles off this island or whatever. We show up, not a pile within sight.
They
I'm
got
like,
moved?
They got
Oh, yeah,
moved.
they get
Somebody,
drugged.
yeah, people drag them off.
They get pissed when someone's on it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if you move, how far can you? I mean, okay, here's my question on this. This is for me. How far can you physically move a brush pile before it just tears all to pieces?
I'm not.
Are they destroying the brush pile or are they
I'm-
physically
I have no-
moving it?
I'm not the brush removal guy. I don't know how. I mean,
I don't know,
they
but you
get-
take a 30-foot brush pile that has fish on it, drag it out to 60, it ain't going to be fish on it
Yeah.
unless it's like deep summer.
Okay.
But,
okay.
I mean,
Matthew Smith says Clark's Hill is thin on brush piles as well. Nothing like Lanier. And Chevy guy
Man-made
says,
stuff
hey,
probably ain't gonna fall apart like a regular old brush pile would either. Like if you were dropping a tree down.
Well, I mean, I see, if the guy's dropping, they got a bucket down there with concrete or something, you can hook it. But I would think if you dropped a legitimate brush pile, you get in there and you get down, get hung in it with a big big treble or whatever you hook.
How do they unhook it? That's what I want to know.
How would you do that?
Cut the rope.
You would take a
I
money.
can
hey, you
picture
would take
like
the
a,
money
like
saver,
a
little
giant
retriever,
money. That's what I was just about to say. A giant money saver and just send it down.
slam that.
Could you
thing
imagine
down.
making this thing like
a pound?
half
a
ton.
couple pounds? Yeah.
Good Lord. Adam Mathis right there at the top. Appreciate you joining us tonight. Still running the LVS 32 LiveScope transducer. Is it worth upgrading to the 34? Noticeable difference in being able to see bait better at range. I kind of know where I think you're going to go with this. So go ahead and answer that question.
Undoubtedly.
Undoubtedly.
Because I asked a couple people and I have 32. I'm like, oh, that's a big difference. They're like, yeah, it matters. And I put it on my boat. I'm like, really?
Is it that big of a difference?
Yeah, it's night and day.
It's huge.
So he's talking about seeing your baits at range.
Oh, yeah.
So what would the difference what would be the amount you would gain going from the 34 or going to the 34 from the 32 as far as distance wise?
Well over 50%.
Really? That
Even
much?
more than that.
Yeah.
I mean, I had a 32 and I mean, I could see my bait at 70, but it had to be like the cast. I had to be on it and everything had to be perfect. And that was like 70 feet. Like that's hard to do. I mean, I could throw a topwater fluke, watch
Right.
it come up. But as far as seeing a bait, it's hard. But LVS 34, you can see your bait 110 foot pretty good if you got the right power and everything.
Really, that's a
Yeah.
big difference.
100%.
And I guess the clarity's better as well and all that.
Yeah. I mean, I fished with that 32 for 3 years. I just got a 34 back in October. And like, I think the biggest difference was the density of the fish in your bait, or the density and clarity of what you're looking at. So like a lot of times with the 32, you could see the fish, but you can't see which way the fish is going. So like with the density of the ball, you see it more dense on the left side. That means that fish is heading to the left, or whichever way you get more density on that glowing ball of goodness, like the better, like you're going to be able to see. So if you can see where that fish is going, where that school of bait's going, and actually be able to depict like a direction, like it helps you lead them a lot better. Whatever type of bait you're throwing, it helps you identify the cover, which side of the pile, the pole, the dock post, and the slip, whatever helps you define like that target separation. Like I think it is worth the money 100%. But if you don't have LiveScope at all, go buy a 32 and a 10-inch Garmin and go learn it and then upgrade.
I've heard people say, what they got that one. Lawrence has got that one out. What's
The Eagle Eye?
The Eagle Eye.
Yeah.
I've heard people say it's great, but for a little bit cheaper, you can pick up a 32.
Yeah.
And all that, and actually be able to, because that
And
thing's
actually
kind
be
of
able to
like,
see something.
yeah, that thing's got a 32's got a much bigger range than that Eagle Eye, right?
As far
angles.
as active target goes, your beam is narrower, so a lot of guys that run active target like it because when they hit their target or fish or whatever, their bait is right there 100% of the time. Garmin's a little bit tougher, like you said, fish are moving. There's a little, I won't say gray area, but you kind of have to be more precise. It takes a little more time, but I'm a Garmin guy through and through when it comes to forward facing, in my opinion.
Yeah, we've had that conversation on previous episodes out there. Tatum wants to score the ball game. 4-4. Good grief. All right, scroll on down. Let's see if we got any new questions right there. I'll pull it up and unhook it. That's what Chevy guy says with the brush pile and all that. Okay, so cranking and yanking. Why not just learn to fish? So I'm going to tell you about Brooks, though, that you might not know. Now, he does use the LiveScope, but it was you were in college before you actually fishing in college before you got your first one. So you grew up fishing the old school ways and all that.
Yeah, I think I had better tournament success before it, if I'm being honest. Just as a whole.
Yeah.
Because I felt like when I got to the lake and got 1 or 2 days of practice, I could figure out a pattern or something faster than most people. And then now it's definitely a lot more things to go into a tournament for sure.
Yeah, I that's funny. Jeremy Concrete, late to the show. What y'all doing? Well, we just talking like we always do. So appreciate you joining us. Sorry, I'm a hater cranking Yankees. I get it. I get that. But that's the one thing I can say about Brooks is that from previous conversations that we've had with him and all that he didn't get it till you told me you was about middle ways through college. You finally got one.
I had one the first year of college, barely used it, never saw the potential, and then towards the end of freshman year, I had a day out there and I saw a couple things like a fish follow jig and some stuff. I'm like, all right, this is about to be serious.
Yeah.
But
let me ask you this: when it comes to LiveScope and guiding, you mentioned earlier when you had younger clients, them being able to actively see the fish, see what's going on. How do you think that's changed the guide business?
So it helps me more so than anything because as much time as I spend on the lake, these fish are still going to move. And I mean, it's my job and expectations to catch fish.
Yeah.
So that is a tool I really rely on daily to consistently catch those bags of fish. Not so you can't go do it without it, but for day in and day out results, being able to see them and understand the key adjustments, like, all right, we need to slow that bait down, change the color, speed it up, that kind of thing. It'd take a lot more time and there'd be a lot more kind of lag or dead time on the water, which would not be good for business.
I understand that completely. I'll ask you one more question before I get to a couple of the ones out there. Let me go ahead and get your opinion on the tournament scene professionally.
Mm-hmm.
MPFL, no. MLF, certain periods. Elites, you can use it. If you had your choice, what would you have?
I would fish the elites and use it. I feel like I've invested too much time into it just to turn it off. But that's my thing. I think if people don't like it, they have a trail to watch. If people want a balance of it, they have a trail to watch. If someone wants to use it, they have a trail. So, I mean, I think it's set up okay as best as it can be now, but
Yeah.
no one's going to be ever happy with this.
That's for sure. Coleman Jones. Is the 0 degree fish obsessed LiveScope mount worth it?
100%.
Tell everybody about it.
So the 0 degree mount actually puts that transducer essentially 0 degrees, but on your trolling motor. So whenever you're throwing your bait, it's going to be there 100% of the time. So with the Garmin stock mount, it's pretty good, but there's still just a little margin of error, which at a full day of fishing, you'll have it add up a few times where you miss those fish or don't see your bait, and
Yeah.
it becomes frustrating. But for like $150, $120 for a 3D printed piece of plastic, it's a no-brainer. And being able to put it in perspective or do it a couple clicks up or down, I mean, it's priceless. I have 2 of them just in case one breaks.
That's high praise for that. Let's see. Chris, 351971. So Chris 351971. What's your guys' takes? Excuse me. What's your guys' take on scents? Are they any good? Do you use or utilize scent when you're fishing? Let's go guide versus tournaments.
I've really played with a lot of that stuff like bait pop and what was it, like thump gel and all that stuff.
That was the one I was going to say. If you've thrown the thump gel.
And I mean, maybe, but I haven't seen it make like a true difference. But one thing I have seen that's just undeniable is smallmouth and scent. I mean, there's something to that that I don't think is on the same level of largemouth and spots. I'm not saying that it doesn't matter to largemouth and spots, but smallmouth is amplified in some way that it really does matter. But I personally am not going to go out of my way to doctor up a bait before I throw it. Just for me, I may throw some chartreuse or something on it, but for the actual scent of the bait, I'm not too caught up.
More for color though, so like if
right,
you're
so if I'm
dipping a
putting
shaky head
orange
worm
or
or something
like that to add on to it, but I'm not like, all right, that smells like garlic, that smells like coffee. Like that's not what I'm really concerned about.
What about you?
I only really use scents on big swim baits, and that's if I'm throwing a big soft swim bait in the wintertime, like crawling a Huddleston or a hog hunter, something like that. I'll put the trout scent on it. And another big thing with those big soft baits, when you get into the 8-inch HUDs, the 10-inch big swim baits, having a little bit of lubrication down the side of it with like spreading that scent down the side does definitely help set that hook.
You think it hold on to it a little bit better too?
I think it just slides that hook in better.
So you're more for the actual hook set and all that.
Yeah, I think like cool. They can kind of get a hold of it, but then when it goes to slide in that hook set, you get a faster slide instead of like a like to where their teeth would kind of lock
so you got
into
lubrication.
It. Yeah, lube it up.
Lube it up. There you go. All right. Adam Mathis, do y'all run dedicated batteries for your electronics? Does that help with the performance of the LiveScope as well? Necessity.
Yeah. So go see Trent. He'll get you hooked up.
Yeah, Trent at Sonar Pros right there. Okay, that for sure. But he talks about that having that dedicated line to that.
I mean, I have a 12-volt dedicated lithium battery, and my unit stays at 14 to 13 volts all day long. And I get on a lot of clients' boats, and I don't really see a huge difference if units are over 12, but I mean, if you're dipping into those 11s and stuff, you're losing picture. It's getting So I would definitely. I mean, there's a bunch of different lithiums out there, so it's not one of those things where it used to be like, all right, I'm breaking the bank to do this. You can get away with doing it with a couple $100 and really change your fishing.
Yeah, and Trent talks about too sometimes because he does the wiring harnesses and all that. A lot of people jerry rig their boat a little bit, and you can get interference.
For sure.
You know, between your wires with your voltage and everything.
That's why he does the wiring harness with the individual. Everything's got its own breaker or circuit. And I think that makes it's like you're not doing a golf ball through a garden hose. Like you actually have enough power.
That makes sense.
There. And the standalone lithium is the deal. I had it save me on Murray because I ran my lithium completely dead. And then, I didn't wake it up because I was an idiot and just plugged the boat in like everything was fine. Wake up, the boat's dead. but I could still switch it to AGM and I still had power for the tournament.
Yeah.
To where like that backup extra time.
That's the best thing you can put on a
Yeah.
bass boat.
It's what is the best thing you can put on a bass
that
boat?
Perco switch in between an AGM and a lithium, because at some point in time, something like that's going to happen. I was on Clark's Hill and I was practicing a couple of days, snow, just frigid temperatures. And one day all my graphs shut off, and that was halfway through a practice day for an open. I'm like, okay, flip my switch and I'm back at it.
To the AGM.
Right, and I'm
Yeah.
good to go for a full day without any concerns about anything.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
That is the best backup you can have in your boat.
That's a
100%.
good tip. Yard, back to the floating docks. A lightweight shaky head. What type of bait on the shaky head? By the way, yard is pronounced like a pirate would say it. Yard. Is that right? Is that yard? Yard. Yard. All right. Enjoy what y'all do. Much appreciated. Well, we enjoy you being here. Yard. Do I need to roll my R's a little more? Like, yard. I can't even do it. I need to stop. My daughter says, you need to stop. I'm cringy right now. Okay, so what type of bait on your shaky head?
Senko.
My
You
man.
throw a Cinco on the quit shaking your head.
Yes.
We have this conversation all the time. You don't throw like a mag, shaky head worm or something different. You just throw the
I
Cinco.
like a mag shaky worm horrible, but for docks, Senko.
And that's because it slower
It's
fall
the
or just,
profile of it. On a shaky head, there's just something that's right about it.
I got to remember that. How about you?
That's all I throw on. shaky
Cinco?
head. Yep.
Okay, there you go. T-Toms, I've asked this before, but I'm curious. As a guide, what's the expected client etiquette? Are they able to bring their own gear to learn how to use it better, or is that a different kind of trip?
Yeah, so I always welcome people to bring their own rods, but if they want to use my stuff and kind of see my system and approach to each lure and technique on why I have it on that rod, they're more than welcome to throw all my stuff. But a lot of guys enjoy using their own personal tackle just to build confidence with it. So that's always something I encourage.
Okay. Plus, they don't blow out your rods and reels when they bring their own
It
stuff.
happens.
But if we're being honest, right? I mean, how many times do you re-spool, just say a rod on a given week?
Really not that much.
Really?
I mean, the cool thing about Lanier is I'm throwing a spinner rod myself most of the year.
Yeah.
And aside from like a Topwater or Sebile, where, I mean, we'll fuzz them every once in a while.
Yeah.
But it's not really as bad as you think.
I would imagine with a spinning rod, that would you be able to get away with
I mean, you'll
it.
get a wind knot here and then you're like, all right, there's a spool of braid, but it's really not bad at all.
Okay, that's good. That's interesting. What about the Hydro Wave? Y'all see it? You ever use it? Does it
Yeah,
make a
that thing's
difference?
been around for a long time, hasn't it?
Yeah.
I've never even had one on my boat. So I know guys that think it makes a big difference or feel like it does, but I really honestly could not speak either way on it. I think one thing it could do is maybe like hide the trolling motor noise and some other stuff a little bit. But as far as like making them school and stuff that it's kind of advertised to do, I really can't speak on it.
Have you ever done that?
I've been in the boat with guys with them to where it seems like it fires them up, but
You don't know.
I don't know. Like
Okay.
it could just be where they're fired up.
Yeah, I got you. Brooks, since you have been guiding, what is the biggest mistake you are seeing younger anglers make on your boat?
Biggest mistake, probably, I don't want to say expecting results for themselves, but it's so easy on a lake like Lanier to just see the top end weights over 20 pounds and they get on the boat like, all right, let's catch 20. I'm like, it's a lot harder than that. I'm going to show you all the process. We may end up doing it probably. A lot of the days we do catch good bags, not saying every day. But, I mean, there's a lot of kind of history that goes into building, like, tournament experience and getting the repetition of doing that. So it's not just like a flip the switch, all right, I'm going to be at the top. So I would definitely say kind of pace their own journey and don't be too consumed on what other friends or peers, if they're just consistently catching them. Your time's coming. If you just put your head down and put your own time in on the water, you'll be blessed for sure.
Let me ask you this. Would you rather have a young client who knows nothing or an older client who knows everything?
I enjoy the young guys that really just
But you get what I'm saying, though, like an older guy with bad habits and stuff.
yeah, I mean, I haven't really necessarily seen that too much. Most people take what I say with a grain of salt. I mean, they'll change it how they like to fish, obviously, but I really enjoy the young guys that hop on the boat and they're like, all right, how do I do this? And I can see them grow confidence from never throwing a Nico rig or a Fluke to ripping it out there and dropping the trolling motor for me when I stop the boat. So that's cool stuff for sure.
Getting to see them kind of get a little confidence in that. Far dog right there. Weaver says they use crawfish scent with live crawfish on the Niagara for smallmouth. So that goes back to you saying with smallmouth, it makes a difference. Far dog wants to know, if a guy ever thought about going into the guide business, what would be some pointers that you've learned that you could pass on to the guy?
Well, I've been doing it for only a year, so I'm definitely not, I wouldn't say the most experienced, but definitely a couple of things I've learned is really kind of pouring into that person and get to know them. And then don't forget about the experience aspect and really take into account what that person is seeking in that trip. Not every guide trip is just going to be out there catching fish. A lot of people want to enhance a specific thing, whether that's with LiveScope, a certain technique. So really try to figure out what they want out of that day, even if it's not catching a giant bag. If you can kind of cater to their technique or whatever they're searching for, that has been the biggest key for me and kind of been something I've ran with.
Right. When you're guiding, what percentage of the day do you actually fish?
Not much at all.
Mostly teaching and all that?
Yeah. So I'll show like a couple of things in the morning, like how I'll go about doing it. And then, I mean, I'm not saying I won't fish a couple of times throughout the day if they're active or schooling.
Oh, you're talking about you fishing. I guess that's the question, like you as a guide. Okay,
is
okay.
Is that the wrong question?
Well, no. I didn't take it that way, but I think that's the way it was. So, yeah. So you personally,
Yeah, I don't fish very much at all throughout a trip.
Okay, so you're spending most of your time working with them.
Right, because I feel like if I'm fishing, I'm more so self-consumed with me, and I'm not actually seeing what's going on with there. There's nothing wrong with people that fish during guide trips. I mean, you're out there for that long. You got to do something right. But, I mean, I'll fish here and there, but more so I think I try to make the experience about them and help them grow their techniques.
That's good. When I read it, it just did not hit me the right way. But that was the right way to answer it. So that's,
was that the wranng question?
No.
Okay.
I read it. It went through my brain wrong.
Good.
You answered it correctly. Cranking and yanking says older guy with bad habits. Yeah, Mr. Anti-forward facing up there. No, seriously, it's funny though. But in all honesty, I could see taking a kid that knows nothing as opposed to taking an old fart, that we did this back in the 70s. I think the kid would be more enjoyable to teach.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, you can tell it just lights up their world when they catch one and do something they haven't done on the lake and just build confidence.
Oh, yeah.
So there's nothing, I mean, I take all age groups, but it's cool.
And I'm playing with you, cranking and yanking. I love you. We old farts got to stick together. But he does pull up that last thing right there by him, right there at the bottom. With more and more people getting LiveScope and Mega Live, do you think you will see more and more guide services popping up? I would expect so. We're already seeing it here in Louisiana. So guy gets alive, I can put people on fish. Now I'm a guide.
I definitely could see a correlation between that for sure.
I mean, look at OH Ivy. How many guides popped up on OH Ivy in
Texas?
It's
a bunch.
Oh,
yeah.
It's crazy.
Well, I also we had this conversation in the shop today about you had the old school guides on the near, and you got all these up and comers is what I call you guys. The younger game, but you and even Underwood and Emil's doing it. When he's not fishing and all that. But I see the clients that come in the store that talk when they're wanting to book a trip or they're asking me what guide to use. I see them gravitating towards the newer generation guides because you guys are using more of the, I guess you want to say, whether it's forward face or not, the newer techniques like the minnow and stuff. They're wanting to learn those things as opposed to things that we've been doing forever, like, throwing a fluke or drop shotting or something like that we know how to do. And those are good things and their guys are good. But it seems like a lot of guys, when they come in the shop, hey, who would be good to teach me at this and all that? And they're gravitating towards the newer guides.
Yeah, I think a lot of that just has to do with, social media and YouTube. It's what they're consuming day in and day out. And it's kind of just natural to be like, all right, let me go learn how to do this. And that's why I'm here. But I think that's definitely the big kind of back end for all that that's what's popular. You hear about shaking a minnow, LiveScope. That's the stuff that's getting pushed in their face every day.
That's real quick. So right here towards the end, and I haven't even asked you this question. I should have done it earlier, but we've been hitting so much good information. You fish tournaments. What's your plan as far as you personally in your aspirations to fish professional? Are you looking to try to get to the elites or anything like that? Would you like to do that?
Definitely. I mean, it's been a goal of mine since I was a kid. I mean, this year's been a little bit tough, just kind of more or less in a tournament slump these past couple ones, but we're doing okay in points in each division. So we're still on track to make that top 50, but definitely long term, I'd love to make the elites. I don't know how long I would necessarily stay on it, but that's kind of one thing I've always wanted to do, and probably, I'm not going to stop until I do it.
Yeah, I have no doubt you could do it. So, my grandson, this is actually what it's all about. My grandson caught 5 spots that went 19.4 with Brooks. He was ecstatic.
That was an unreal day in May.
Hell, I'd like to just go with Brooks catch 19.4 on any given day. But how does that make you feel? You know, it'd be different if Doc said I went with Brooks and caught 5 spots for 19.4, but he put my grandson.
So he actually texts me before every tournament, before I even leave, and he's an awesome guy. I've never met too many people like him, and his grandson really got fired up, and he tells me about his fishing even when he does it on his own now. So it's really special to have a couple of those key impacts. Or I don't even know if they're key, but just pour into people in a little bit and just kind of impact them.
Well, you're influencing somebody in the right way.
For sure.
You know, like that. So with that, let's do it again. If somebody wants to book a trip with you, and you do electronic trips too and stuff, right?
Right. Yeah.
So you do everything. We talk about the fishing, but you do electronic trips and all that.
I do a lot of guy trips on clients' boats, just setting up their grass. I mean, we'll fish some too, but I mean, getting their stuff completely dialed. I love those trips as well, for sure.
Yeah, we don't talk about that enough. That's very important. If you got all the money in these grass.
Yeah, I mean, if you're spending $20, $30K to have your boat outfitted and you got a couple settings wrong, it's not worth it.
Yeah. So Brooks, where's the majority of your clients from?
I would definitely say around the Lanier area for sure. I mean, I have a couple of guys. I mean, I've had guys from Virginia, Alabama. I've had some guys travel a long way, which feels really cool to know someone would make the trip. But, but the majority of my clients are from just around the Lanier area.
That's how I feel when we get far doggies from Oklahoma watching us. Yeah. I know that. I know that feeling. It's pretty neat.
It's pretty weird.
Again, though, if somebody wants to book a trip with you, first of all, if you're on YouTube after the show, go check out Brooks Anderson Fishing. You put up videos on that and all that, and they're very informative. You can learn from that. But if somebody wants to book a trip with you again, how do they do it?
So, for and foremost, my website, brooksandersonfishing.com, and then shoot me a message on Facebook. That's Brooks Anderson Fishing as well. Yeah.
I will tell you guys like this, if my wife's still watching, I'm not going to say it because she thinks I slobber all over you, you know, like that. But Brooks is actually she does, dude. Like, she thinks it's weird, but he's actually one of my favorite people. I can't do an episode without saying this, in the entire fishing industry. He's a great kid, just knows his stuff, but he's just good people. Your dad's good people too. He brings Chick-fil-A to people and all that all the time.
And mediums for Danny.
Huh?
And mediums for Danny.
And mediums for me like that. But it's always a pleasure every time I can catch you because you're so busy to come on the show and all that like that. So I appreciate you and what you're doing. And guys, you need to book a trip with him. If they want to follow you, what tournament trails are you fishing right now? What you got coming up?
I've got a couple more Bassmaster Opens this year in July and August, and then hopefully we'll be in the EQs in the fall. So
there you go. So follow them out there. Alex, you and Clarice did a fine job back there tonight. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And Clint, of course, it's always a pleasure just watching you in your chest during the show. Does that make you feel? There you go. Does that make you feel uncomfortable when I say that?
Every time. Every time.
I know it does. That's why I
say
it. Eddie goes, Eddie Hudson, Brooks is such a humble young man. Keep up the good work. So
appreciate it.
He's absolutely fantastic. And guys, hey, listen, Thursday night, we got another one, another good local young angler. Dylan Akins is going to be on. And we'll talk about his experience at the Bassmaster Classic. And of course, we will try to squeeze him for some juice too, as well, on what's going on in these waters. So, one last question. Far Dog had to get it in here.
Yep.
What boat and motor do you run, and what rod and reels do you use, real quick?
So I've actually got an old 08 Triton. We've kind of decked it out, carpet, sea deck, new electronics, trolling motor, everything you can redo to a bass boat. We've done it. And then I have a Mercury Pro XS as the engine, and then was it rods
and reels? What's your favorite?
Shimano and G Loomis.
Shimano. So there you go. Good question like that. Alex, PR, PWR 129 or limited.
PWR 129.
There you go. All right,
I'm not a fan of Nuka Noose plastic.
Okay, there you go. So we got all the questions in, and now I'm going to end the show. So you guys, hey, appreciate you joining us tonight. If you're listening on Spotify or iTunes later on, we appreciate you guys too. Check us out Thursday night. And again, Brooks, thank you very, very much for coming and hanging with us.
Absolutely.
All right, guys, we'll see you on the next one.